Hello everybody and welcome to tonight's coverage of the Full Length Cup Challenge. This evening we're excited to bring you action from tonight's circuit, Atlanta Motor Speedway from iRacing's virtual Hampton, Georgia. Maconi Entertainment is here to bring you action from all types of racing, including the top split for the Maconi Fix Series and Fast Fridays. No matter what we are racing, we can bring the action to life. My name is Justin Prince. Alongside the booth tonight is Kirk Mills. Our producer this evening is Marty Sakawa. Getting all set to go for our second race of the season, Kirk. And after a thrower at Daytona last week, we're set to go 400 miles for more super speedway racing tonight.
That's exactly right. 400 miles tonight. Not quite the 500 we saw last week at Daytona, where we saw Patrick Gitter take home the big win in the FLCC 500. But today, we're going to be running 260 laps around this super speedway child of Talladega and Daytona. Had a kid, guess what? It would be Atlanta. They are going to be doing 180, 190 around this track. It's going to be close quarters. It's not as wide as any other super speedway. And what we're going to see here tonight could possibly be one of the craziest events on the schedule. I always mark Atlanta as one of those tracks to watch.
Remember, this track in a couple of years ago, back in 2022, had that repave and that reconfiguration to make it into a super speedway. Some people even call it still Atlanta Super Speedway with how tricky this track is. But in real life, the bumps are starting to become a factor again. The track has started to wear in, or it's starting to get very slippery for some cars. We'll see if it's slippery for the drivers here tonight. But keep in mind, Patrick Gitter, despite winning the race last week, not the points leader, Matt DeCiani picked up the most points to start off the season, including all the stages. Derek Heitman has 46 points. He's in third. Ralph Hutchinson, Chris Hill, along with Lucas Hoitzma, Adam Benefield, Billy Brookley, Paul Hill, Evan Mesnard, amongst the top 10 in scored points coming into tonight. Qualifying already taking place last night and through this afternoon to set the field for tonight. 45 cars set to race this evening. Let's take a look at your starting grid. Derek Heitman tied with Bobby Anderson for the pole tonight. Christopher M. Hill was 1/1000th off that pole time. He qualifies in third. Matt DeCiani qualified in fourth tonight with Lucas Hoitzma in fifth. Matthew Lawn in sixth. Patrick Gitter picked up the win last time. He's in seventh. Ralph Hutchinson in eighth. Andrew Dyson and Carl Dodson, your top 10, Kirk.
Starting in the 11th place spot will be Billy Brickley, followed by Dave Hoitzma starting in the 12th place spot, with 13th being Tanner Marty. Starting in the 14th spot will be Chris J. Bowling. Starting in 15th will be Jeremy Miller, and then shortly followed by Jeremy Clapper Newell. 17th will be Noah Hamilton, 18th Robert Miller, 19th Jonathan Delaney, and 20th will be Alex Murray.
Alex Princeton starts all the way back at 21st. Dustin Hall deep in the field and qualifying 22nd. It's going to be a challenge for the Conti car. John Williams is nearby him as a teammate. Thomas Komacheski in 24th. Brennan Hastings 25th. Paul Hill 26th. With Daniel Llewellyn in 27th. William Owens in 28th. Then Juan Petrovic in 29th. Kevin Soziak rounding out the top 30.
Owen Hodgson is starting in 31st. Ed Ryan starting 32nd. Chad Sanner, Devin Medeiros, Cameron Stone, Evan Mesnard, Neil Pearson, Cameron Thompson, Johan Seminario, and Ryan Strunk round out your top 40.
The rest of the field includes Larry McDonald, Stephen Williams, Greg Newsom, Jordan Person, and Jason S. Taylor will start the tail for tonight's race here from Atlanta. Let's take a look at your Maconi Setup Shop race analysis. 260 laps your distance here, Kirk. Your quick keys, as it's going to be a 60, 100, 100 split difference.
Oh yeah, so it's going to be an interesting race in general. We're going to have our first stage in on the end of lap 65, followed by the second stage will end. Actually, that's incorrect. I got that incorrect there. But yeah, we're going to have these stages. I think right now they're going to be focusing on just trying to make it to the end of those stages. We'll have those ready to go here in a second. Here are the cameras of all the drivers that we're riding on board with tonight.
Those drivers like Bobby Anderson, Carl Dodson, and more. But it's time to go racing from iRacing's virtual Atlanta Motor Speedway. Happy with the sport coverage of the FLCC. Race number 2 is underway from Atlanta.
Heading down into turn number 1 already. The bottom line seems to prevail. Heitman takes the early advantage over Hill as Anderson drops like a rock. He's all the way back from the second place starting position, already outside the top 5, and he's trying to find a hole to get into, but it looks like single file as they head into turn 3.
Top line does have the tendency, once you have cars to build up runs, but most of the field saying, nope, we're just going to train down the bottom. Derek Heitman leads the first lap out of the first 60 laps in this stage. And just like that, the top lines died off. We were talking about this tonight, expecting it to be a bit more powerful up top. But obviously, most of the field saying they just want to keep it patient for now if we've already seen the top 20 move to the bottom.
Yeah, it's straight line. I mean, right now, I think they're just playing a strategy here, probably saving some gas. I'm pretty sure they can make it to the end of this stage on fuel alone, I believe. I'm not 100% sure, but I think it's pretty close. I think they can go about 70 on a tank. Isn't that right? Or what are we thinking in terms of the tank of gas for these guys?
That sounds about
70.
right when it comes to total, because I've seen people go about 70 here, even with this full throttle type of package.
Yeah, and with that first stage ending on lap 60, they can most certainly make it. So I'm not anticipating anyone saving unless they plan on pitting early, maybe. I mean, I don't see that being a giant plan by anybody, but right now, single file, they're just trying to get through this race. It's a long one. It's a full-length race. So 260 laps. They're just trying to get to the end. Just to give you the listing of the entirety of the top 10, we're going to go with Derek Heitman's right now running in first, Christopher Hill in second, Lucas Hoetzma running in the third place spot, Patrick Gitter in fourth, fifth will be Matt DiCiani, Ralph Hutchinson is in sixth, seventh Andrew Dyson, eighth Matthew Long, and ninth Billy Brickley, followed by Jeremy Miller rounding out your top 10 drivers.
Already Christopher Hill saying to let Derek know, or rather have Derek let him know if the pushes are too much. He's just trying to keep the momentum going up front. Again, caution flag is out already.
Yeah,
we have a
turn 3 and 4.
Caution flag is out. Cameron Thompson, a few others scatter around, and we're under caution for the first time tonight already as the back of the field has trouble. Paul Hill also collected.
It looks like, when we go back and watch this, it looks like that Nolan Hodgson gets into the back of Hill after a checkup, and they both go around collecting the 13 car of Cameron Thompson. Slight damage for all cars involved there, but I think that they might still be able to continue after this, considering this is really early in the race. You can see it right here. They go into the corner and just at the checkup, and they get into the wall. That's the 26 car and the 13. You can see that there. They're both involved in that. Definitely not the best situation, but they are doing the best that they can, most certainly. They're going to get those cars fixed up. You can see it going into the corner here. Just light contact from the Hodgson to the back of Paul Hill.
That involved that top line that had been developing and, well, had developed back. Bobby Anderson had a big bobble into the corner that caused part of the checkup.
Yep, absolutely. So now let's go ahead and get on board. I think I think that was one of those wrecks that, here's on board with Bobby Anderson. We're going into 3. Not Bobby Anderson, correction. That's the I believe that's Paul Hill, might be. So unfortunate.
Under caution for the first time already here. Significant damage, mind you, to Thompson with a broken axle.
That's going to be about 7 minutes until he could get that car fixed in most cases, at the best case scenario. So if it is a broken toe link or something like that, 6 to 7 minutes repair time. So he'll be running in the back. We won't see him be a contender for a little while, but I think he might be able to get that damage repaired to get back out there and do a better job.
There was a discussion, by the way, it's worth noting for tonight. We will mention this now because it will come up during the stage cautions. There will be an additional pace lap during the end of stage cautions to allow drivers to pit on the same lap. due to an inconsistency found during last night's Friday Night Lights races when it came to running with the NASCAR Xfinity Series cars, where the pit road opened only for some cars, but not all in turn 3. That will not be the case, though, for these types of cautions. So this is something to keep an eye on for later for the pit strategy for some of these drivers, where they'll have to extend an extra lap for a caution. Coming up to the restart, though, getting all doubled up here, and already it becomes the question, what's going to happen to those starting up top here after we've seen how quickly that top line fell back? Oh, they're delaying the caution.
Not exactly sure what the reason is for the delay of the caution, but it's just going to make him go around another lap. But let's go ahead and talk about right now. You can see that 96. Paint scheme's not loading in 100% correctly there, but that's, again, that's Christopher Hill. He's on the racetrack here tonight trying to, get a great finish compared to last week. It seems like the car behind him as well, both the car behind him, Lucas Hutzma, got involved in an accident really late in that race last week, and he's just trying to recover from it. And so he's up front. He's doing a lot better this week. And as per usual, you see Patrick Gitter sitting there in 4th place, who ended up winning last week. Did a stupendous job of being able to control the race, most of the race. He even got involved in 2 accidents last week, which is crazy to think he can come back from that. But you got to remember, super speedway racing, as long as you don't get, absolutely, straight on into the wall, your car can be repaired rather quickly. In most cases, it might take a little time for other types of contact, but in his case, he avoided giant hits and ended up winning the biggest race of the year, and running strong, sitting here in the 5th place spot. 4th place spot as they cross the stripe at this current time.
So we're going to see if we can get the official reason down here. It looks like Derek Heitman did indicate he wants to do the top line once he gets the opportunity to do the restart here. So, again, still under caution here. Our first yellow flag of the evening. For those just tuning in, the FLCC second race of the season. And what's it like having a gauntlet like this with this? As we just confirmed, the reason for the delay was there was confusion about that pit rule we just talked about for the stage caution, where some people apparently thought that was for all cautions, and that's why there was a delay here.
See, so are they going to come down and get some fuel? Are they pitting this time? Well, what are they?
Should be coming to the 1 to green, but there was an issue with the caution rules, is what race control has confirmed here.
Odd. Well, I'm glad that they got that fixed up, and hopefully we'll have a little bit less bumpy road when we go to these cautions.
Good to catch it early at the very least if there's an issue.
Oh, yeah, you got to catch it really soon.
You don't want to find an issue on lap 259 of a race, let's say.
Yeah, you don't want that. One of the biggest problems at that point is, you miss the end of the race. Knock on wood here. We don't want to miss the end of this. Atlanta seems to breed some of the best finishes in motorsports. It's actually phenomenal, the amount of finishes that have happened here in real life and in the sim that end up being so close. And that's the type of thing that I'm excited for tonight. Hopefully we'll see someone make a move here at the end of this race and, try to go for the win. I think it's going to be nice to have a photo finish. I feel like that's coming tonight. I don't know how it will be, but let's just hope that they make it off turn 4. That's the goal here as they're double it up coming out of turn number 2. But I think it's surprising that Heitman chooses the top. Why does he choose the top here? What do you think?
I think he might just get the good boost and move down to the bottom if that opens up, be able to control both lines possibly. He also has the opportunity to work here with Patrick Gitter off the jump, and that is a teammate for Fortis Motorsports. That could be an advantage if they can get something going here.
So he's using his teammates to help him out. All right, or maybe he's even helping his teammates stay with him, because that outside line died last time. We saw Bobby Anderson drop like a rock, and guess where he's at? He's 20th right now. And so, that took 10 laps to go from first car on the outside line to 20th. So, it's a questionable call, but if they can work well together, then we'll be able to see if they can somehow get and stay up front.
So Fortis drivers control the outside. It's Chris Hill working on his own on the inside. Green flag is out. And the answer comes through. It's the outside teammates, the team standings leaders that jump 1 and 2. Gitter can't fully jump to 2, though, to be able to clear by Hill as Hill stays in second.
Yeah, he had to get down. There was no way he was going to be able to keep the lead. Oh, they're wrecking in the back. Huge crash. I see about 6 or 7 cars. They're all piling it up in the back of the field. The 73, the 57. We got Jordan Pearson around Greg Newsom. Daniel Llewellyn, last week's Daytona Xfinity Series winner. We had Cameron Thompson, Nolan Hodgson. Ryan Strunk, he won the Xfinity race yesterday. A lot of cars were involved in that accident.
Already our second caution as Evan Mesnard got turned around in the 73 on a checkup with Brandon Hastings. Devin Medeiros and many others slammed their way into the incident. Let's take a look.
Yeah, you see that there. It's just the 56 catching. It was just one giant wreck at this point. I think it was just a checking up, and no one. Devin didn't really give him much space to avoid getting spun there. Let's take a look here. We're on board now with Devin. Let's see how he handles this going through the corner. I mean, you don't anticipate a checkup here. It doesn't look like a big one, but whoa, there it is, and then he gets hit in the rear end, sends the 73 around. He goes around, he spins. And at that point, I don't think he hit anything too hard up until the 9 car came by and gave him a nice shot in the left front. But let's look back from Evan Mesnard, the rear cam here. See the checkup, and just, yeah, not much you could really do there. You got stuck. A lot of cars spun around in that one. At least 8 or 9 cars, I think, are involved in this crash.
Here's Llewellyn and his onboard. He'd been trying to move to the bottom, actually, right before this, and then the incident stacked up in front of him.
Yeah, he got ran over. It's nothing Daniel did wrong necessarily. He got on the brakes. He tried to slow down for it, but somebody behind him didn't. We're going to take a look at another onboard. Here's Johan Seminario. He was upside down last week. We'll see if his, I don't know if his, yeah, there's the bump that spun him around. And it looks like he got collected in this one pretty good as well. So at this point, not too much damage. I think that would be repairable. I don't think anyone was quote-unquote terminal here. But definitely a lot of damage and a lot of cars on pit road. I see about maybe 10 or more with a lot of damage sitting on pit road right now.
Yeah, already a couple cautions in this race, and they're both towards the back of the field. I don't know if this is what we were expecting coming in, because this type of racetrack can get some longer runs if you can establish yourself. Already 2 stack-ups, 1 off a restart, sets the tone here.
Oh, yeah, cautions breed cautions. That's what they like to say all the time. However, in this particular instance, I don't see that those accidents being necessarily avoidable at this point. Maybe if they were having bigger gaps between the cars and not trying to push as hard, but they're just trying to stay with the lead draft. And once you lose that lead draft, it's very hard to get it back. And so, I mean, at this point, it was, I say, a racing deal. Nobody wrecked each other on purpose here. It wasn't anybody's quote-unquote incompetence here, but I'd say it was just a collective aggression that ended up boiling over. That happens whenever you race on these super speedways. They try to, get everything you can get, stay right on the rear bumper, and any checkup at all will cause these accidents. As we're doubled up down the backstretch here for the restart, Heitman chooses the top again. Last time he dropped Gitter. Gitter now knows that he has got to stay with Heitman to be able to stay in the front. That's his only chance to be able to do so. That bottom line is going to be hard to get in front of with 2 cars, so we'll have to see what they do as they head through 3.
Well, let's find out how this is going to go here. Gitter almost found a way to clear last time. Give him credit. We'll see what happens here. But it's the 76 in control for the restart. Christopher Hill still in second. DeCiani is up there amongst the top 5 as well. So Fort is with 3 of the top 5. Green flag is out. Gitter a better start than last time. It's a team 1-2 now as Gitter clears and slams the door.
Lessons learned. That's all I could say for those top two. They have learned how they're going to do this going forward, and now that entire outside line has vanished with, it looks like, Ralph Hutchinson, the guy with the stash and the awesome frickin' mullet. We love this guy. He's running the top, being pushed by Delaney. They're going to have a long way to go to get back up to the front as they're battling side by side with Tanner Marty to their inside there. As they cross the stripe, they are running currently in the 10th place spot, battling for that spot right now with Tanner Marty. A lot of cars here, and looks like the only 3 of them are on the outside line for the front part of the pack, but there is another outside line that is forming in the back half of the pack, being led by John Williams, who's pretty quick no matter what you put him in for Team Conti.
Keep it on that later on. You still see Delaney is doing a good job pushing Hutchinson. Those are teammates. So a lot of teamwork coming in here at Atlanta so far. The thing is, with this outside line, they're only carrying about, it's more so around 190 miles an hour. They aren't making up as much ground as you would think with how much speed they're carrying up top shelf.
Yeah, I don't anticipate that top line making much of ground unless they stay glued. Oh, they're wrecking in turn four again. A huge crash. Few more cars. 81 is involved. Brandon Hastings. The 51 of Ed Ryan is around, and a few more cars turned around in turn 4 as Ed Ryan sits sideways on the front straightaway.
John Williams was in it as well. We're under caution after the 05 got turned around off the nose of Ed Ryan. And another caution. 3 cautions, and we're not even 20 laps in here on Maconi Entertainment.
Sounds like it's going to be a long night if this continues. My goodness, we're going to have to see what caused this one, because, I mean, at this point, they got to learn what they're doing. They got to learn how these wrecks are being caused and then try to avoid that, because if it's a similar thing, we'll find out here in a second when we go and look at this here replay. Yeah, just unfortunate series of events. I think it was just a bad push. Let's take a look as they went into the corner here. All right, so 51 gives John Williams a bad push. John Williams goes around and it collects maybe about 5 cars. And now a few more. Yep, 81 got slammed there. But altogether, that was just not the right time to be pushing, and you shouldn't be pushing in the corner to begin with. So, I mean, that was probably avoidable. Well, what do you say there, Justin? You think that was something that was just a bad push?
Well, pushing the corner is bad in general, especially right there. That just got him very snap loose, and everything else for Ryan could have been avoidable there with that second part of the incident.
Oh, yeah, big time. I'm surprised. I got to give props to the back end guys, because these guys had to avoid Ed, who was sitting in the middle of the track as we're riding now on board with John Williams. He got sideways. He tried to save it, couldn't do it. Collected a handful of cars. This is the second week in a row John Williams got collected in a wreck like this. And it's unfortunate for him, because, I mean, he's the last wreck, I believe, he may have had something to do with a push as well that may have got him to go around last time. But this week, I mean, not crazy damage, but he's still sitting in pit lane right now trying to get some of it fixed.
Yeah. We'll take a quick step aside. Restart coming up in just a moment. You're watching Maconi Entertainment. 3 cautions so far, and an attrition-filled one for the full-length Cup Challenge.
When you want to be the best, you can't settle for the rest. For anything on iRacing, there's just one name you need: Maconi.
With the launch of Maconi Entertainment and Maconi Competizone alongside Maconi Setup Shop, we now provide the best of the best in setups, paint schemes, coaching, broadcasting, and event organization.
With cars across all 4 license classes, we have what you need to hit the track with confidence. Grab a subscription and save money while going fast at MaconiSetupShop.com/subscriptions.
And remember, at Maconi Setup Shop, there are setups, but your victories.
A thriving job market and low cost of living, plus a wide range of veteran benefits, make Indiana the perfect place for veterans of the United States military to call home. InVets can help you find that home. We're an organization started by veterans to help former service members transition to civilian life in our state. InVets can help you find the community with the career opportunities, housing, schools, and amenities that fit your lifestyle. To learn more about InVets, visit us at invets.org today.
Welcome back, everyone, to tonight's coverage of the full-length Cup Challenge, the Waffle House 400. And so far, a few cars getting a lot of damage in this one. Already, drivers like Greg Newsom with mandatory damage. Others like Cameron Thompson already losing 2 laps from damage repair. 20 laps down. And it's Fortis in control. Teammates 1 and 2 backing away. Heitman with a good launch over Patrick Gitter. Lucas Hoytsma now up to the top 3 for a split second.
Yeah, he doesn't have much help up there, that's for sure. He's going to have to find a hole and find it quick. Oh, did he find it? He sure did. But guess who did not find a hole? It is Jeremy Miller, stuck on the outside. Billy Brickley's coming to help him, though, as they head down the back straightaway. It looks like the single file happens again. This time everybody's staying on the bottom. We'll see if we're able to get a longer run this time. You can see this is going to be an interesting run. I think that they were told by race control to, not cause another one of those incidents at this point, to calm it down a little bit with how early these accidents had come into the race. But we already see that outside line, the 44 Billy Brickley being the pusher for Miller on the backstretch going into 3.
Yeah, they're making a decent amount of ground actually off this restart so far. Making up about a car length or 2 per corner when they're hooked up at least. That's the key word, win. Miller getting a push in the corner this time. Brickley trying to keep the bumper sealed, having to crack the throttle a little bit. It's a bit of an art form to be able to push just right here with this racetrack too, because it's so quick, the straightaways, you don't have as much time to respond compared to Daytona in terms of your speed, in terms of your checkups.
You don't have a lot of time at all. This is one of the shortest super speedways there is. I think it's the shortest. At this point, it feels like when you're going to these corners and you're pushing a guy that if you hit him just barely off, little contact with Hutchinson and Jeremy Miller as they head down the backstretch there. But as long as he's able to, just stay close enough to where he's not necessarily hitting him in the corner, but that bubble is popped, then you can push him out ahead of you, and he'll drag you with him. So right now the outside line looks like it has about maybe 8 or 9, maybe 10 cars now. On the outside, you can see that there as they head through turns 1 and 2. On board the 86 of Jeremy Miller looking out the back end. I don't anticipate a third line at all this week, especially this early in the race. Nobody should be going up there. And there's going to be marbles up there too, which is going to make it really loose. So in the event someone does go up there, watch and see if they're able to hang on to their car, because it is not going to be something that's easy to hang on to if you get up into the marbles.
Absolutely. The outside gaining numbers, by the way, as things keep going here. Alex Murray's joined in on the fun. Dustin Hall, you talked about him. Didn't have the best qualifying runs, has also joined in that one car. He's now up to the top 15. Oh, Brickley with a bump in the corner.
Oh,
right into
no.
Miller. No caution yet.
A lot of cars damaged. That's Billy Brickley's one of them. Another one, a few other cars. That's Alex Princeton on the apron there, trying to make sure he doesn't come back up. And oh, he did. Oh my gosh, that was abysmal. My goodness, that is a lot of cars are involved here, and that was just wild. He lost it on the apron and came right back up into oncoming traffic.
Caution flag is out. Princeton demolished. And several others joining on in. William Owens, Evan Mesnard with mandatory damages. Let's take a look. This got sloppy in one end and then got ugly right there.
Oh my goodness gracious. That is going to be something that's going to be looked at by the race control most certainly. I mean he had a broke car. You got to give him that. He was trying to save the car. He wasn't really slowing down that much. You can see it now. Let's take a look at the 73 as he heads in the corner here. One guy's on the apron, and he's just running right around, and next thing you know, just bam! 30 cars in it, 73 has nowhere to go. I mean, these guys had nothing to do with this wreck, and they were just piling in. My gosh, and it's not just them. There was a separate wreck behind trying to avoid this. There was a lot of cars that were involved, maybe 10 more. We're going to say 10 more. Here's Mesnar on board. You can see him down on the apron. He's down low, he's sliding, and then he just corrects straight up into the 30. Evan has nowhere to go.
William Owens was that 30 car. Here's a look from Owens as he's just trying to drive around, gets around the traffic, and then bam.
Oh my, he had nothing he could do. There was absolutely nothing he could do. And it's not his fault at all. It's just wrong place at the wrong time. Oh man, what a wreck.
So under caution, once again, our 4th yellow flag already. Derek Heitman, by the way, has basically led this entire way so far. Things are going well so far for Heitman. He's been good on the block. He's been good off the restarts. He's been good on the power. His team has 3 of the top 4 spots at the moment.
Yeah, his team right there, I mean, they're doing great. They're doing exactly what they need to do. I guarantee that these cautions are helping them because nobody wants to get up to the outside line because they're afraid of a bad push possibly spinning them out. We're already on our 4th caution, and we're not even lap 30 yet. It's going to be a long night at this point. If this continues, each one of these wrecks, I'm not exactly sure what, started the thing with the last one. I think it might have had something to do with Billy Brickley. I'm going to go and look at that again. But yeah, definitely we'll have a full recap of that later in the week. But in this case, yeah, they're going to need to calm down. This lead pack, they're going to be fine. The top 4 guys control the race. As long as you don't race against each other, odds are the other folks won't be able to even get to you.
So getting regrouped once again for the restart. Derek Heitman, Patrick Gitter, the 1 and 2, Chris Hill in 3rd, Matt DeCiani in 4th, Jeremy Miller in 5th, Matthew Law in 6th, Alex Murray in 7th, Ralph Hutchison, Jonathan Delaney, and Dustin Hall is now in the top 10. Give a shout out to one person that's gone from the back to the front just about, Kevin Soziak. It's gone from 30th to 11th so far. Known usually as the Ladybug tonight, has a bit of a different look with the blue and green on your screens. So far, the Town and Country Landscape Management car doing a solid job, just marching his way methodically through the field. Well, set for the restart. How do you approach things now, knowing the attrition has been building up like this?
In this case, at this point, get to the bottom. It does not matter. Get to the bottom. Whatever it takes. You got a teammate coming on the inside here, and DeCiani's also up here, so maybe he might give a push with Heitman and where Gitter can get down, and Heitman can try and get DeCiani up to the front. But those 3 have got to work together to get to the bottom and lead this line. That is the best way that you can guarantee that you will not be back with the folks who are having some issues keeping it straight tonight as we go back underway with lap 31.
Back it away, and this time they're trying to get DeCiani down, maybe. Looks like instead, Heitman able to get down, but DeCiani forced to stay side by side. He'll lead the outside line with the help of Matthew Long now on the push. A few more numbered cars staying up top side instead of just trying to find a hole.
Yeah, it's good that they're doing that. I think it might be due in part to these the 2 leaders, Heitman and Gitter. It could be that they're kind of letting that low lane check up a little bit more so they can try and get their teammate to actually pass them so that they can be single file 1, 2, 3, and then they can start putting on the jets, and then they can just scoot away. So, I mean, you can see that Heitman's just letting off, going into the corner. He got hit by Gitter, And it's going to help that outside line stay with this lead pack. I think it's when you are leading these lines, you can use line quote-unquote manipulation to be able to help the outside line or hurt the outside line if you're the leader and you got somebody who likes you behind you. So it's definitely something that could be happening right now. I'm not 100% sure because it's not a huge change, but it's something that is well known and practiced whenever you have a teammate up in the front. But it looks like he's trying to find a hole. DeCiani might have a chance to get down now, and he does, suiting back there in the 5th place spot on the bottom line.
Not bad as so far for Hutchinson. Taking a look. So far, keeping calm this time on the bottom of the racetrack. And we were talking about him earlier. Apparently, he does have a mullet, as you said, Kirk.
Yeah, last week I was talking to him about him, and I said, you know what, that stash looks cool, but it needs to have a mullet with it. And apparently his mullet blends in with the seat, so he can't actually see it, but he has a mullet, which makes it really even cool. I always say the stash and the mullet equals NASCAR driver. That's my opinion. I never want to put one on myself, but honestly, I think it can make guys, like, it adds to the style of a NASCAR driver. I really think it does. And I think he has a great attitude about it, and he's doing a great job running up here in 7th place right now. Doing what he has to do to be able to compete up here right now. Just avoid the wrecks behind you and just try and keep a single file line, and don't let that outside line get up to you. And if you do, make sure you block them off. Make sure they can't get by you. Nice job by that entire bottom line now. As it looks like from my view here, it looks like that out of all the cars that are in the lead pack, we only have 29 out of the total 45 that are in this lead pack. Ed Ryan rounding out the whole field right there at the back of the long line.
Yeah, Ed Ryan, about 29th spot. Mind you, we've already had double-digit numbers fall off the lead lap because of incidents as well. You see some of the others starting to migrate their way up the field. Thomas Kovacheski, you see him falling back. This is on board with Hudson. Continuing to ride along the outside.
Yeah, Hodson, I always say when we look at his onboard, he looks so happy. Like, I don't know why, but that video, we have a move already. Here comes the outside line. That's Christopher Hill trying to get the outside line work with the 8 car of Hutchinson trying to push with Delaney on the outside. I don't see that working very well at this current time, but Tanner Marty's pulling out to try and help be that 4th car on the outside line. They're heading through the corner now, and they're already up to the 4th place spot, but I believe that what we were talking about before, Hudson, doing a great job out there. I mean, I always say when we see him in the VR headset, kind of crazy because he looks happy all the dang time, and it's kind of funny, but I like it. Hill, not really making much momentum on the outside, wouldn't you say? I mean, I think he's staying stagnant, to be honest.
Yeah, the line's not moving forward. There's not that much side draft pull. They're trying to side draft to keep the lines at least even, but it's not working really much at all so far. It's one of those types of races where you can pick up track position, but it's going to be where you need to be methodical about it. You can't be rapid about it like Daytona. Oh, a bit of a bobble there.
Yeah, huge checkup on the bottom line. A couple cars went down below the red line. They did not pass anyone, so no penalty should be issued for them for going below the red line there. If you go below with 2 tires below that red line, that will automatically be a penalty if you're trying to advance your position. And so you can get forced down there, similar to the Talladega and Daytona double yellow line rule. But that I do think that they won't get any penalty whatsoever trying to avoid a wreck going down there.
Still 20 laps to work with here in the stage, or we have a flurry of pit stops. These cars, with the amount of downforce they carry here in the next-gen machinery, not as much sliding as you may expect in the Xfinity cars so far. That was a talking point earlier today in the live action.
Yes, it was. I spoke with, prior to this race, I actually spoke with Ralph Hutchinson about their cars. and they told me that they are trying to make their cars have more downforce than what others might have in their cars. That's the way that they set up their vehicles, was just to try and keep it straight and not have any loose feelings as they come up to block the outside. 3 wide for second place as they headed to turn 1 and 2 for a split second. That put Gitter out and replaced Gitter with Hill up to the front. As we're looking off the back bumper of Derek Heitman now being pushed hard by Hill, so much so that they have moved away from the pack.
Well, how about that? That was all of a sudden as they seen the momentum swing and said, we don't want the momentum to come up high side. And now that's really checked up the entire field by 0.4 of a second. They're not really closing either.
No, they are not. I can tell you right now that was at these super speedways, things can happen in an instant. It doesn't matter where you are on track, something can change rather quickly. But looking at these lead 2 cars, they're going 2 miles an hour in the corner faster. They are checking out. I don't know what's causing this. I mean, there has to be some sort of plan here. I don't know how they're able to check out this far.
This is like Storehouse Racing back in 2018 when 4 cars checked out at Talladega on their own.
Oh, yeah, I remember that. Yeah, that's almost exactly like this, just with 2 cars instead of the 4. Oh, they just got separated, though. Now they're going to start losing time.
That's going to start costing them some time here. Now they're going to start losing the ground. This shouldn't last forever in terms of this distance, you wouldn't think, with the law of large numbers, so to speak. But Patrick Gitter is leading that second pack at the moment and lots of lap cars up the road.
Yeah, that's only going to help the leaders here. The leaders are going to the lap car. Robert Miller just jumped up out of the way, and now we got Taylor. Taylor's up in the wall a little bit. He's going to stay up high and try to stay out of the way of the leaders. But these top 2 guys, I mean, I think they may have discovered, the old tandem drafting that used to be very popular back in like the early 2010s, 2011, 09, in that range. The tandem draft for these 2 seems to be working, which is wild because I didn't think that was possible anymore because the car would blow up in the 96, but no, he's pushing these guys way clear of the whole pack. And the only thing helping the second pack is that the lap cars gave him somebody to draft off of.
Yeah, great boost of speed, but the lap traffic has actually helped the rest of the field carry the speed back up off the back end of Robert Miller. Others like Hutchinson trying to close back up the distance a little bit at the moment. So they're going to have more traffic scattered as time goes on. Coming up to the closing stage of the stage here. It looks like the field just staying at the bottom as they try and navigate the traffic.
Yeah, we got Billy Brickley they're going by now, who's going up to the top. They're going to go blowing right by him. And the next lap car we got is Llewellyn. He's about halfway down the back straightaway. I anticipate them going up and out of the way as well. And it looks like that's what he's going to do. But yeah, they're running 35th a lap down, and they're getting caught really quickly. And we'll see what they choose to do. But this single file line now is about maybe 12 cars. Oh no, Llewellyn chooses to go to the apron and gets down and out of the way. Very smart move by Llewellyn, trying to make sure that the leaders have as much room as they want.
Yeah, it's still spooked them off the bottom of the racetrack. The leaders, I should say, off the bottom. Coming up to 10 laps to go in stage 1 as this race blisters its way on by. Right now, 19 cars have the draft at the main pack, spread amongst near 3 seconds. Brandon Hastings on back have lost touch with the field with how things have gone so far. As you see some of those drivers try and find a way to close 5 seconds.
I don't know if they're going to be able to actually close back up. They're going to have to work really hard to be able to do so. But what I do want to mention something up here in this front pack. You can see the front 2, Christopher Hill and Derek Heitman. But behind them, we have a driver who is actually multiple laps down, sitting in 40th. That's 18 laps down. Robert Miller, currently 3rd car in line on the bottom. He's 18 laps down. He's out here just collecting information for his team. I don't see him he's not going to have any chance of winning this race anymore, especially with it being 18 laps down. But he's still up here in this lead pack, and he's wanting to be a part of the fun anyway, which is kind of interesting there, as he is, looks like one of the last cars still out here on the racetrack. It looks like that we have a total of 5 cars that are out of the race, or at least sitting on pit road right now. Devin Medeiros, Alex Princeton, William Owens, Evan Mesnard, and Greg Newsom are all sitting on pit road right now at 18 plus laps down. But Robert is the first car that is on track with the most laps down with 18, followed by Cameron Thompson, who has left the server, so he's no longer on the track anymore. So he's going to drop back as well to make the 6th car out of the race.
Chad Satter makes it 7, actually. He just pulled out
7.
Recently. Yeah.
So that makes 7. There you go. More and more cars. Attrition, like you said earlier. I mean, that was not what I was expecting here. I thought it would be all about track position, but no, attrition. These guys, it seems like we have an accident every now and again, but it seems like that we have calmed down to the point where we got single file racing throughout the field now, and they're just trying to make sure that they don't cause an issue or wreck somebody or have a bad push. That's what we got to make sure of. No bad pushes while we are in this particular part of the race. Remember, the end of the stage for tonight is going to be on lap 60, which is we're very close to, about 23 laps away. We'll see if we actually, I think, oh no, I'm incorrect. Sorry, I'm looking at the wrong thing. 6 laps to go in the stage. It's across the stripe. It's going to be 5 again.
5 laps to work with. When do they make the move? Says Hill. Still stays in line, still pushing Heitman as much as he can. That's going to be the big thing too, is Hill runs with Altus in this series. There's a chance that he might have a run with Miller here in the final stages to try and stake away or steal a stage win possibly. Mind you, the top 10, all you have to do is stay in line and you get stage points right now. The whole top 10 is here in this pack.
And it's going to be hard to pass. I mean, right now, the outside line is not as what we'd expect it to be here. And with that lap car sitting in third in line, I should say, it's going to be hard to make a pass for even the lead or the win of the stage, because right now that car is going to be in the way. And I don't know if he's going to be willing to help necessarily, if they're teammates or not. But it's definitely going to be something to watch as we come to 4 to go this time by, heading into turns 1 and 2. We have a move back here. Ralph Hutchinson just had Alex Murray make a move down below him, and he gains a spot that way. He goes from 6th to 7th. It was Ralph Hutchinson that went from 6th to 7th, and Murray that jumps up to 6th.
Does actually hook him up with the teammate. Slide things up as still down to the final couple laps in the stage.
Yeah, a lot of
Chris
lap
Hill.
cars blowing by.
Yeah, and no moves from Chris Hill, except to the bumper. Expecting one to go in the stage this time by. Oh, he's starting to push him in the corner, kind of a bit loose. Does Hill make the move to try and take away the stage? Lap 60. Should be the final time around in stage 1 here.
Nose to tail, we have a couple cars trying the super high line, and it looks like Miller's coming up the block. Patrick Gitter, he goes up. Heitman makes contact with Hill. They're side by side heading down to the turns 3. Here comes Gitter to the back bumper of Heitman. And behind Gitter is Jeremy Miller trying to push Hill to the front. They're side by side, but it looks like coming across the line, it's going to be Christopher Hill taking the stage win.
Chris Hill wins stage 1 and does so with a last lap back straightaway pass. Derek Heitman 2nd, Jeremy Miller 3rd, Patrick Gitter, Matt DeCiani the top 5. Alex Murray, Jonathan Delaney, Ralph Hutchinson, Matthew Lawn, and Kevin Zosiak all score points as they come under the caution flag here in this one. Under caution for the end of stage 1. The Waffle House 400 continues after this.
Aren't you sick of making double cheeseburgers by now? Lincoln Tech, the end of the dead end.
I highly recommend it. You won't find anybody as good as Jam Printing.
Jam is a friendly and professional company that just doesn't do print to make sure that you grow and your business grows to the next level.
They are a very community-focused organization. They donate to every event in the area.
Every time I hand out one of Jam's printed materials, I get a ton of compliments, and that's the power of Jam Printing.
One thing with Jam is it is a veteran-owned company, and that really resonates with me.
Jam Printing is like no other. Their dedication to customer service is amazing.
If you're looking to amp up your marketing, Jam Printing and Promotions is the place to go.
Pit stop time as we're under caution for the end of stage one. Christopher Hill picking up the stage win here at Atlanta. Justin Prince, Kirk Mills with you, Marty Sakala producing. And for the first time, the field as a whole coming in for scheduled stops. Should see 4 tires and fuel here, Kirk, to get people on freshies for stage 2, which is going to be much longer.
Chris Hill's going to be coming into his pit stop just like this. 3, 2, 1, you're in your box. And it looks like that they are going to be taking 4 tires and some fuel. And we have a little bit of a glitch here on the screen. We'll have that fixed real quick. That's just something that pops up. It looks like no issues on pit road quite yet. I don't see anybody having any issues in terms of any sort of pit issues.
Take a break. Back after this.
Aren't you sick of making double cheeseburgers by now? Lincoln Tech, the end of the dead end.
Racing isn't easy, but experiencing it is. iRacing puts you in the driver's seat with the industry's leading sim racing game. Drive on laser scan replicas of the greatest racing circuits from around the world. Go head to head against other drivers chosen by skill-based matchmaking to ensure competitive racing at every level. Compete across all your favorite series. In officially licensed cars, engineered to deliver the most accurate driving experience possible. Join a race or host your own with players from across the globe. Race against the computer or in a league with friends. Feel the thrill behind the wheel. Visit iRacing.com.
Welcome back, everyone, to tonight's coverage here on Maconi Entertainment. Ryan Strunk, he elected to stay out. Interesting enough, Kirk. So he's out here on 51 lap ball plus tires and fuel here.
Possibly. At this point, I think he could have been one of the few to come down during the last couple cautions that we had to get some gas and tires, maybe whenever those wrecks occurred. But at this point, if he wasn't one of those cars, I don't see the strategy here. I don't see how he's going to be able to pull this off. However, I don't want to question him because last night in the Xfinity Series, he did the same thing. He stayed out with 10 to go alongside myself, and he ended up winning the dang thing. So definitely the right thing to do at the time, but that was with 10 to go. We still have 200 laps left.
Still plenty of laps to go. This one going up to lap 160 for stage 2. All the way to the end of the restart zone. Green, green, green. And not the greatest of launches for the 77.
He's still hanging on to it. I think that the 7 car of Alex Murray is going to be helping the heck out of Hill on the outside, but the 86 not giving too big of a push to the back of the 77. We'll see if Delaney's able to give him a shot. Nope, he decides to pull up and out of the way, and guess what? That top line now is preferred. I think that up here in the front, these guys that have been running up front most of the day, DeCiani or Hill or some of these guys, Hutchinson even, have the ability to just, like, if they don't like a leader of a line, they can choose to replace them rather quickly. Just like as a general consensus, oh, you stayed out, I don't want to run with you, and then they can leave you out to dry. But at this point, we have a new leader up front, first time for the night, Alex Murray leading this race here, looking on board, looking out his rear end here. Alex Murray looking at DeCiani, slight contact as they head out of the corner, got him a little loose. Delaney sitting in third as Hill sits fourth with Matthew Long in fifth.
Murray, one of the builders with Premier Racing setups, able to jump up to the point. But now, starting to see some not so common combinations in terms of those who are helping each other. It's about where your friends are almost a little bit, with how some of these drivers are having to fare out off this restart instead of being able to work with who is a part of their clique.
Looks like that 77 is actually getting super tight on the bottom of this racetrack. He slipped up the hill a little bit last time by, but we'll see what if he's able to hang on to it here in 3. They're side by side right now. The 6 is going to have a huge run going into 3, heading into the corner. It looks like it's sticking this time. Last time by must have just been a fluke. But the outside line's not really getting much momentum whatsoever. We're on board now with Miller. You can see the outside line not really moving anywhere. Hodgson's is staying even with him. Now they have a little momentum, but the 77's still sliding up the hill a little bit as they head out of turn 2 to complete lap number heading to end lap number 69 into lap 70 as they go off into turn 3.
Yeah, and remember, here's the big thing too to keep in mind for later on in the stage. We're probably going to see some green flag stops if it goes green here, Kirk. And this is not an easy track to plan out green flag stops when we have that later on. Pit entries in turn 3.
Yeah, this is one of those tracks that is going to be entertaining as as can be. Let's just say that's better for the censors. But yeah, they go into turn number 3. If you go underneath that line, there's no pit road speed limit until you hit that yellow cone at the end of pit road. So whenever it is green flag pit stop time, they are going to be like a wild pack of dogs trying to get back to the den. It's going to be crazy seeing how they're going to be able to do it at a high rate of speed on the apron. Hopefully we see them do it safely. That's the best way I can put it right now. But we'll see what they're able to do. The bottom lane is starting to lose a little momentum as Delaney has a bit of a run on the outside. He's getting not much help, but he still has a lot of momentum up there.
Yeah, Matthew Long's been doing a great job as a pusher today in one of the Dirty South cars. He is getting loose, though. That's the big thing. He is getting squirrely off these corner exits.
Most of them do get squirrely, especially when they're getting pushed like they are, or getting as close to the rear end of these cars as they do. And here's the happy guy, Nolan Hodgson. Yeah, he's happy as can be in that VR headset. He's running on the outside line, third car up there. Having a lot of fun, it looks like. Yeah, I mean, can't really complain in that position. You get to live a cool life. You get to sit in a chair and race a race car with the VR headset on. It must feel good for him. I'd be happy to.
Yeah, doing a great job tonight in the race. 31st to the top 10. Munt's one of your biggest movers. You know who's gone from the 40s, though? From 44th starting spot, Jordan Person. He was in the vicinity of one of these cautions. He's been able to drive his way all the way to the top 10 now, just about. In fact, he is now.
Yeah, Jordan, it's interesting about Jordan. I spoke with him for the first time ever this week, and I found out that his last name is spelled as Person, but it turns out it's pronounced as Pearson. which is so unusual. I've never heard of that before, but the outside line just got a huge shot. Delaney is pushing the 96, and guess what? We got the tandem drafting going again. Hill seems to be the common denominator when you got two cars pushing each other, but not for long. That outside line of Nolan is trying to catch back up. But yeah, these guys are scooting away, it seems like.
Yeah, that's interesting for Jordan Pearson.
Yeah, I had no idea. It was weird. I asked him, like, why is it not Person? And he's like, well, it's just our family pronounced it Pearson, even though it's spelt Person. It was very unique. I'm not sure exactly what, region he's from or how that happened, but yeah, that's just what I heard from the guy. So I didn't question it. I'm like, okay, Pearson, you got it.
Oh, that's wow. Hodgson has drove it up. You know who's driven back up? Derek Kiteman. You may have noticed he did not start towards the front for the restart. He's going 3 wide middle at the moment. He had 40 seconds of damage repair during the caution period. Apparently, from one of the bumps, it added significant damage to his race car, so he had to get that fixed. And so, he had to give up all the track position. He's driven all the way back to the pack and gotten most of it back.
I mean, that type of stuff is going to happen in racing. You're going to have these little glitches, like a bad bump or whatever it may be, slight wall contact, whatever it may be is going to have a negative effect on your race. No one that I have ever seen has had a quote-unquote perfect race with the exception of Kyle Larson. Okay? But whenever these guys are, oh my gosh, then the pushes from the car of Hill there, it's just a little sketchy, It's a little sketchy. Oh my gosh, you can see Bobby Anderson. Oh, he spun out! Oh, I told you he was gonna do that. Oh my gosh, Bobby Anderson got spun out. We were on board with him when it happened. Oh my goodness, that's Paul Hill and Bobby Anderson involved in that one as the second pack is coming up. Oh, come on. Nobody else is collected, just a 2-car incident this time.
Caution flag is back out, 6th time. 5 for accidents. As pushing in the corners, not a good idea, once again.
Yeah, that's right. This time, Paul Hill was not on the receiving end, he was on the giving end. And, yep, after that, just could not keep the car straight. It's unfortunate. Rough run there for him as they're heading down pit lane now, trying to get that damage repaired. We were on board with him. We saw him reacting in the wheel. And he just was trying to save it, but there's nothing you can do when you're getting shoved into the corner like that. So, definitely unfortunate, and a lesson probably needs to be learned there by Paul Hill on that one.
We had some split decisions, by the way. A lot of people coming down to take service here. Ran nearly 20 laps in that stint. Some people already thinking about the strategy, thinking about grip potentially for later on. 77 did not pit either yet, so I'm curious what lap he is officially on here, because he has been able to stretch this run pretty far so far.
Yeah, I'm going back and I'm trying to look and see when his last pit stop actually was, because I believe lap 12, it looks like, is what we're hearing is when he last came down pit lane. So not sure exactly. Oh, here he comes. He's coming now. This is his time. He's like, okay, I've had my fun up front. Time to get some tires and gas and see what can happen from here.
Yeah. We'll take a quick step aside. Chris Hill leads for the Waffle House 400 here from Atlanta. Welcome back, everyone, to Maconi Entertainment. More coverage here from Atlanta as Chris Hill choosing the top, Matthew Lawn up to a race-high second on the bottom. A lot of people involved in incidents have recovered from those crashes, Kirk. Johan Seminario's recovered from his damages. Carl Dodson's fixed up his car from that slam from one of the big ones earlier for 7th. A lot of people making recovery drives. We're not even at lap 100 yet.
I mean, that's what you got to do. I mean, at this point with the attrition rate, I can guarantee that most of the cars in this field will have damage by the end of the race. I mean, at this point, that might be an assurity. So they got to be able to know how to minimize the damage once they do get in an accident, if they do get in an accident. And they got to understand that it's going to take a while to get back to the front, but when you do, just make sure you have all your damage ready, because that way you don't wear out a tire faster than the rest or have a steering issue or, you know, feel like you're teeter-tottering in the car as we're coming off 4 to get the restart with 82 laps complete. Here we go.
Coming up to the green flag, back underway. Hudson not able to keep up to the bumper of Hill in this restart zone as Lawn keeps himself in second. In fact, most of the top line dissipating this time compared to some of the other restarts.
The smartest decision you can make right now is if you're restarting 4th, find the first hole you can and get in it. Oh, they are wrecking again in turn 3. Multiple cars around, spinning on turns 3 and 4. I see Juan Petrovic's involved, Bowling, Llewellyn, and Strunk. He just won last night. He came down and got tires, and he just got in the wreck, trying to recover now. We're going to have to take a look at that one, but it looks like it was a giant checkup down the backstretch again.
Caution flag back out. Juan Petrovic indeed turned around with Chris Bowling, one of the Alta's cars, and they all stacked up like Legos in turn 3.
Yeah, I'm looking at it right now, and from what I could see, it looks like Ralph Hutchinson was trying to go to the bottom, and when he did, it was a giant checkup from the 67. He actually got moved down to the bottom, and a bad push from the 7 car of Alex Murray to the front end of Jordan Pearson ended up Pearson. Bad push from the 7 person. Pearson. Gotta get that right. Slight contact, but then reactionary in the back. That wasn't the main cause of the wreck. That was the contact that eventually led to the crash in the back with Juan Petrovic's involved and Chris Bowling. You can see you're on board now with Ryan Strunk. He has front-end damage. He's going to have to come back down and get it fixed. Like we were talking about earlier, attrition. It's more likely that you're going to get in a wreck here at Atlanta. So you got to be able to get that car fixed so that way you could possibly stay out there and, you know, come back from it. I mean, it's possible. We saw Patrick Gitter in the 500 last week get involved in 2 accidents and still came back to win the race. So it's possible. They just got to make sure that they try to keep the car clean when they do spin.
So again, under the caution flag, and errors have come on in. Derek Heitman, interesting enough, has had to peel back to pit road, so a lot of people having to get some repairs done. Unfortunate for Heitman, who was in contention for the win in the early going here, now having to get a lot of repairs done. Chris Hill, though, is doing very well so far. One of the NASCAR drivers for the Cup Series, and so far has been competitive. Whenever we've seen him on track, he's been looking like he may be a contender week in, week out, obviously. 4 race wins here.
He gets bored. I think he gets bored with these cautions, or just whenever he has to ride around in the front. We saw that at Daytona when he would jump out of line and then bounce right back in. I mean, you remember that, Justin. But, I mean, he is extremely competitive. He's fast. He's got the great setups. He's got a great driver behind the wheel. And that whole team is going to be benefited because of this driver. So with him leading this thing, he chooses the outside again, I think wisely. He's able to get a great jump on that outside line. I'm not sure exactly how the outside line's been getting such great jumps all race long. That bottom line just does not seem to want to, you know, get a good jump on these restarts. But this time we have a new contender trying to take up front here. That's going to be Matthew Long starting first car on the bottom. And Nolan Hodgson is also going to be on his back end trying to push him ahead of Hill, but it's going to be a tall task to be able to do so.
So coming up to the restart once again here Chris Hill, Matthew Long staying up front, DeCiani, Hudson, then Seminario, then Gitter, Dyson, Marty, then Hall, Carl Dodson, top 10. A lot of people up plus 30 and 20. How much top half of the field at the moment? So now it's going to get interesting eventually here on how the plotting and planning is going to go here at a race like this. Let's see how the plotting and planning goes off this restart.
Through turns 3 and 4, this is when we get back going. We'll see if Hill's able to hang on to this lead or not. He's got DeCiani on his 6th, and we'll see if he's able to go. Pace cars down to the pit lane. We're going to go back green with 86 laps on the board. So let's see how they go. Great restart. DeCiani and Hill get almost identical starts. Makes me think that they might be in the same voice channel. They get clear of Matthew Long, sending them straight to the bottom and leaving Johan Seminario out to dry. He finds a spot, though, running right in the 6th place spot, as it looks like we're getting single file for this front pack. Going back, I see only about maybe 8 cars in the high line altogether throughout this entire field, so not that many are trying to top. They're all just trying to get through here and try to get to the bottom. It's a smart move, trying to make sure you don't get involved in another accident.
Yeah, just trying to keep things very calm. After all, there's still a lot of time to go in this stage. There is still about near 70, 80 laps in stage 2 to go. Oh, here we go again. More people on the apron. Hill comes back on the racetrack. My goodness, again.
They saved it. How on earth did they save those cars? Wow, that strings out the entire back half of the field. I'm sure we're going to be able to take a look and see what happened here in a moment, but we're no replay on that one, so we won't be able to actually see. But I'll make sure that we look at it. But it seems like that made the entire line single file. Everybody is single file now as they head into turn 3 and 4.
Well, except for one, Carl Dodson had to poke out from a checkup attempt. So still, let's go and see what's going to happen here for Dodson. Had to get the whole front nose fixed on that car. And right now is losing a lot of ground. All he can do is sit back and watch as all the spots go away.
Yep, not the nicest feeling in the world when you know you're the only one on the outside and nobody wants to help you. He doesn't look too sad about it though. I gotta give him that. He seems like a nice guy, so don't like to, see anybody super angry when they're racing. But I can tell you this: I went and looked at that incident down the backstretch and what happened. It looks like one car just got loose. And once he got loose, he went down the middle, and cars went to avoid one, went below the apron. Nobody had really bad damage, but they did lose a little bit of time. But now the whole entire field is single file, with the exception of that one driver who is going straight to the back right now.
Yeah, choo-choo train effect has built up here at Atlanta.
Chugga.
Yeah. Well, this is, some people are forcing themselves, and that's a little bit risky.
3 wide there. Kevin Zosiak is not happy with Miller. Miller stuck his nose there, and he didn't go below the line, but he definitely, most certainly made an enemy right there. I guarantee you Zosiak is not going to be happy with him after that.
Yeah, a lot of close calls in this race tonight. And that's kind of started some side-by-side here. What goes through your mind in a race like this, knowing how things have been so far, but also knowing much of the field just wants to ride and get to that pit stop window?
I mean, I think that they could actually make it, maybe. It's possible that if with these cautions that they've been able to save a little bit. There's a chance, very slim but possible, I'd say. That someone would try to save, but I don't think it's going to actually happen. I think we're still going to have green flag pit stops. But as a driver, if you're in this position, it depends on your driving style. If you're a guy like Christopher Hill, who seems to be up front in everything he does, you're going to be up front. That's just the best place to be. Nobody's going to cause wrecks up there. You know who you're running against. Everybody in the front 8 essentially has been there all day. So you're not going to, and they don't want to lose their spots. They're happy with where they are, so they're not willing to dump you out to gain a position. It's too early in the race for that. They will do that later, though, so don't think that they're going to be super nice to you all day. They're going to be ruthless later in this race. But they got to learn right now that riding where you are is probably the safest bet. There's going to be a lot of checkups, a lot of saving gas. And with the 96 leading, that just means he's going to burn more fuel than everybody else. I'm not sure exactly what his game plan will be necessarily. But yeah, no, it seems that if you're in this race, where do you want to be depends on your personality. Personally, myself, I'm a guy who likes to ride in the back all day and somehow end up in the front. That has always been my moniker of how you do things. I like the old 2006 Tony Stewart type of method where you start in the back and you just try to work your way to the front. It might not always work, but it does sometimes. But these guys like to stay up front all day, which is fine. But you never know who's going to be overly aggressive in these races and when the aggression picks up. We'll see what they choose to do. Seems like everybody's just going to stay single file for now as we're coming to complete lap number 96 and the 97 out of 260. Goodness gracious, this race is going to be a long one. It's an endurance race now.
Well, it is a full-length Cup Challenge after all. Expecting these races to be a lot about the plotting, the planning. It's not like trying to get to the front like it's an official race. It's not about just a one singular money stop when it comes to, say, an open official race. It's about planning the full distance of a race like this tonight. And that's going to be the key thing throughout the season, and especially at some of these racetracks where strategy is expected to be a big thing. Strategy eventually is going to start becoming a critical part of this season when we get to especially next week.
Yeah, next week when we go into Circuit of the Americas, it's going to be a hard difference compared to what we've run this last weekend today. We're on board now riding with, let's see, this is Johan Seminario. Currently having a great old day. By the way, nice setup. I don't know, is that a cat back there? Or what is that thing? It's sitting there. It might be a gamepad or something, but it looks kind of like a sleeping cat. I can't tell 100%. But he's out there, he's chilling, one hand on the wheel. He's like, relax. Look, he put his hand back on for the corner, but still, he's chill. Yeah, no, in terms of strategy for this particular event, it's super speedway racing. To this day, I still believe that there's an element of luck, and by that element, I mean, in my opinion, it's mostly luck for these races. It's going to be a lot. You got to put yourself in the right position to win, but to be able to make it to the end of this race, it's a lot of luck, because a lot of cars cause accidents, get into wrecks, and sometimes you're just an innocent bystander, and then sometimes you're the wrecking ball. It just depends on how the race goes. But strategy-wise, saving gas, saving tires, your tires aren't going to be too big of an issue here unless you choose to stay out at the end of a long run or just take fuel only. But the reason why we like doing this type of racing is because it's long. It allows you to be like the real guys. You go out there and you have to plan a whole week's worth of strategy into one race that's going to take you all day. And you can't just be good in 30 laps. You can't do it in 60. You got to do it for the whole 260. And you could choose to be good in the early part of the race and get a whole lot of stage points, or you could just choose to lag back at the back and then try and get a great finish, because some people really like those stage points. For example, like points leaders typically right now in this point of the season tend to be those that get a lot of stage points. And with Hill, who's already won the stage for today already, he's already got 10 points banked. No matter what, he can wreck out, he can still... and he's still going to gain a lot of points no matter what happens. But because of these stage points, that's what's going to keep them interested. And that's why that they choose to be at the front, so that they can gain some points that they know that just in case we do end up wrecking later in the race, we still have something in our back. So that way we can, stay good in the point standings and try to win this championship for the full-length Cup Challenge.
Indeed. So we continue on with the action. Things have continued to stay calm. A few people are starting to push up the track, though. It is worth noting in all this. So some people who may not have that right amount of downforce are starting to wiggle and squiggle and not have a good time sticking to that red line.
the one in the 29. Let me go ahead and go back here and take a look at them. We heard a report that they were a little sideways a couple laps ago. Wow. Well, right now I think that at this point, there's not much that you can do as a driver right now other than save gas. This is all strategy based. It's not like they're trying to put on a show right now. They're just trying to get to the dang end. That's it. And sure, the tires might be wearing out to the point where they can't hold the red line, but we're going to see some of the aggressiveness, I think, pick up as that continues to happen, as we got 55, 54 laps in the stage left to go. These guys are going to be, trying to look for opportunities to get by the car in front of them to be able to gain one more point. Just one more point. Every car that you pass is one extra point, and they're going to do what they can to try and do so here today. And this lead pack, there's 2 packs total that I can see. Jonathan Delaney, currently sitting in the 22nd place, is the last car currently hanging onto the back end of this particular field. As we look at the other pack, that's Robert Miller. He's multiple laps down, but it looks like 23rd is Derek Heitman. He's running in this second pack, going all the way back to 30th. And these guys are just, coasting, trying to ride as well. I don't think that a lot of these guys have clean cars. I think a lot of them have damage. We were talking about how Heitman was able to get back up to the front, but it seems like he is somehow ended up out of the lead draft and now sitting maybe about 6 seconds behind the leaders. He's trying to be able to maintain speed here, but I don't think he's going to push to try and get back up to this pack. I think he's going to have to rely on a caution in this front pack to be able to have a chance at it again.
Yeah, it's going to require a caution flag probably when it comes to Heitman's case, with the way things are going. But right now, as things stay stagnant up front, more cars are losing laps this time. Jason S. Taylor, 4 laps down, not the race for Taylor in this one so far tonight.
Not at all. Taylor, go ahead.
I was about to say, he's been bounced around and popped around all throughout this race. He is right now one of the last cars, in fact, the last car outside of Miller on track.
He's got a lot of damage. That 60 car, we saw it flipping at Daytona, not in this particular series, but that 60 car went up with Priest in it. It seems like that guy likes to spend most of his time when he goes to the beach in the air, it seems like. Yeah, he's having a rough race. Jason Taylor is tonight. He's going to have to hope for a lot of cautions to be able to stay back in it, but he's 4 laps down. I don't anticipate a comeback here. He started dead last here tonight, so, I mean, it's an improvement from where he started, no matter what, because he started last here. Yeah, no, I think at this point they are staying single file. They're just being smart. All the drivers are so far.
They have been. And that's the big thing, is you can't be rushing to the front and panicking like there's only 10 laps to go and there's still 100-something odd laps to go. Being smart and methodical is critical for these types of races.
I'm not exactly sure how this is going to end up, because right now these guys just riding single file. I don't know if they're listening to music or, honestly, I am looking for Christopher Hill to just start doing what he did back at Daytona, where he got bored doing this and he kept moving up to the top and back down, back up to the top, back down. But, I mean, at this track, it's kind of hard to get away from the second car. Unlike what you could do at Daytona, where you can get up and out of the way. But I'm not seeing it this week, not at all. But I do like his sense of humor. With how good he is at driving, he's able to, I don't even know why they're pushing, to be honest with you. Considering that, pushing is a danger, it's a risk. You only do that whenever you absolutely need to. Right now, everybody's single file. Nobody's going to try and make a move on you unless you leave the door open. But I'm not sure exactly why they keep giving each other the shove. I think it's just they're just trying to scoot away from that second pack that we were talking about earlier, being with Derek Heitman back there 6 seconds back. They're staying rather stagnant, actually. So it was 6.4 this last time by, but this time by, it looks like the distance was 6.5. So they're only losing a tenth a lap. It ain't much. So I don't believe that they will lose a lap if they keep doing what they're doing. Not by any stretch of the imagination, but yeah, these guys are just going to stay single file. It's what it is here in NASCAR. To those of you who don't watch racing that often, or maybe are just tuning in to watch a loved one who asked you to watch this race or whatever it may be, in NASCAR, you got to pick your time. You got to pick your strategy to be able to your time to move. And right now, where these guys are, a lot of them are happy with where they are because we still have a caution that we know is going to happen on lap 160 at the end of that lap. No matter what, we will get a caution. So there's no reason, and that's my personal issue with stage racing. I understand the point of stage racing to make it entertaining in the middle of the race for the top 10, but it does create an issue where drivers tend to try and, just ride in the back if you don't care about stage points or you don't care too much about those, and you stay single file for most of the race. However, it eliminates also the guaranteed caution eliminates a lot of different strategy lines that you could possibly take, and it means that everybody's got to pit once, but you can choose when you want to do it. And I don't know when we're going to see pit stops, but it looks like it's not going to be anytime soon. Maybe possibly soon. It could be. We're on lap 120, coming to 120. We're getting there, 117 right now. And we're take a look right here. We can see the pitch strategy length here. Let's see. Can you read that one there for me there, Justin?
About near 60.
We're getting there. We're getting there. 10 laps.
Let's take a side-by-side. We come back. More racing action as we approach pit stop. Stage 2 continues from Atlanta.
X terms are equal. The graphs of the two lines will be parallel.
You ready to get out of here? Let's go. Come on. Lincoln Tech, the school for people who hate school.
When you want to be the best, you can't settle for the rest. For anything on iRacing, there's just one name you need, Maconi.
With the launch of Maconi Entertainment and Maconi Competizone alongside Maconi Setup Shop, we now provide the best of the best in setups, paint schemes, coaching, broadcasting, and event organization.
With cars across all 4 license classes, we have what you need to hit the track with confidence. Grab a subscription and save money while going fast at MaconiSetupShop.com/subscriptions.
And remember, at Maconi Setup Shop, there are setups, but your victories.
A thriving job market and low cost of living, plus a wide range of veteran benefits, make Indiana the perfect place for veterans of the United States military to call home. InVets can help you find that home. We're an organization started by veterans to help former service members transition to civilian life in our state. InVets can help you find the community with the career opportunities, housing, schools, and amenities that fit your lifestyle. To learn more about InVets, visit us at invets.org today.
Welcome back, everyone, to tonight's coverage of the Full-Length Cup Challenge as we continue on with our coverage from Atlanta. Maconi Entertainment here with you. Justin Prince alongside Kirk Mills, producer Marty Sikawa. Christopher Hill continues to lead the conga line around the bottom. More than 60 laps so far on these stints for most drivers. Some drivers already approaching 45 laps into their stints. Some of those drivers are in the main pack, but many are in the second group, 11 seconds back of the leaders. So the plotters are in. The planning is underway for pit stops. And some of the drivers who had gone in 40 laps ago coming in this time.
It's time for pit stops. I saw a couple of cars go out into the grass there, but I don't see any of the leaders here. We want to pay attention here to whenever these guys end up going down the back straightaway, the lead pack here, because whenever they choose to pit, they're going to have to come down off the back straightaway, down below the red, and pace speed doesn't start until, like I said, the start of pit road, which is over on the exit of 4. But you have to be below the orange box heading into turn 3. So it's going to be chaotic through turns 3 and 4 because they're going to have to be on the apron. Some of them might be drifting the dang thing. You don't ever really know. But we had some contact on pit road that led to a couple cars having to repair some damage because they got rear-ended from the second pack. So that's unfortunate for them. However, we got Christopher Hill still leading this race. Matt DeCiani, Matthew Long, Nolan Hodgson, Patrick Gitter, and Johan Seminario. These guys are still up in the front. Still, rocking it right now. We're on board with Hodgson now. You can see he's happy to be here. Hooray, here's Nolan. Gotta like the kid. He's doing a good job out there, trying to make sure he doesn't mess up his car. Yeah, I am curious. He has a TV hanging up there with a little cord hanging down. I'm curious probably what he uses that television for other than entertainment. Is he a gamer? Does he have a PS5? I don't know what he's got hooked up to that thing. I only saw one cord, so I thought it was odd.
Yeah, right now, all of this is wow. The race is going on here. Derek Heitman did pick a black flag because of contact from behind Robert Miller. Chris Bowling also picked up a black flag for his pit exit. So a couple different drivers in the second group have had things go disastrously on their strategies now with that pit window. Expecting a pit party pretty soon. They are approaching lap traffic, by the way. Clapper Newell, Robert Miller, Carl Dotson. Drivers up there as that whole grouping of drivers who did pit were broken up because of that contact. And that's going to be the chaotic part of this once again, as we touched upon earlier, that land rush into turn 3. A couple people when practicing had skirted up the track and had troubles in that area.
Oh, we have some pit stops. DeCiani's coming down, Gitter's coming down. 3 cars total are coming down onto the pit lane right now from the lead pack. And it looks like that third car is going to be Jordan Pearson.
So into the lane they go. Nolan Hodgson just indicated on the radio is coming in this time by. Lucas Hoytsma has already indicated the same. It is pit party time. So indeed, the drivers can't make it past the 70 lap mark on the fuel. No troubles for the Fortis entries that time. And the other end of the track, more drivers are pitting, including Chris Hill. He's trying to carry speeds of 110 miles an hour around the apron. Matthew Long is making up some ground, running 107 on the shorter distance.
We got to get checked up here for entry. Oh, the stack up. It looks like no incidents there. Great job by the pack to be able to get down pit lane and take care of themselves. Looks like they're going to be fine here. They're coming down now, getting some fuel, some tires. They're going to do what they need to do. Then they got to get back out there. Right now, the current car that is still out there leading this race now, who is pitting now, is Stephen Williams, followed by Jonathan Delaney, who's staying out. He's staying out right now, and he has Ed Ryan, who's might be the second place car when they cross the stripe here.
They have Derek Heitman as well with them, who is now 3 laps down. This race has gone disastrous when it comes to 76. Off pit road, Hodgson and several others peel on off, but it's the jump for DeCiani and Gitter. See him have a big leap ahead of many of the drivers they're battling with.
Yep, they are gone. So now, at this point, it's about who can get group together, who could work together to be able to try and lead this race. We have approximately, it looks like we end at lap 160, so that means we got about 26 laps to go left in the stage before we call it the stage end there. We got a couple cars still coming out of the pit lane, but they're spread out. Not a large group is stuck together. I think the first big group I see is with Chris Hill, Matthew Long, Jeremy Miller, Justin Hall, Johan Seminario. I think that's the first pack that I see out of the quote-unquote lead cars. But we still have, Jonathan Delayton, Ed Ryan, even I think Bobby Anderson is actually still out and about. I'm not 100% sure. Let me check. Yeah. Looks like he's running in third at this time.
Yeah, right now he is 18 seconds behind the leaders though. So after pit stops would put him laps down, 19 seconds in fact. He'll have to come down likely for the end of the stage. Delaney also going to be close on the gas. Ed Ryan for sure going to be outside that window. Some of these drivers saying they are on the radio, 8 laps to go on their fuel runs, such as Delaney.
We're coming down to the end. These guys are going to have to pit. They absolutely have to. To be able to make it to the end on this stage, I don't anticipate them staying out for the whole entirety of the thing. However, they are running nose to tail here. The real battle for the lead right now, I believe, is with DeCiani and Patrick Gitter. These two somehow came out, and they are just miles ahead of everybody else. Doing really well, just sitting there. The other guys, all in front of them, all have to pit. So it's just these two right now. The 2-car tandem. The nearest car to these guys is Nolan Hodgson, and he is entering 3 about maybe, let's say 8 seconds back, something like that. As it looks like Bobby Anderson has come down into the pit lane. He is relinquishing that 3rd place spot. They crossed the stripe that time. Yeah, it's now it's all about strategy. Try to get in the pack, try to work together, and try to catch these lead 2 guys, Matt DeCiani and Gitter. And it looks like that's what exactly they're doing.
Exactly right now. That's all you can really do, in the case of Delaney at least, is just keep riding till you hit that window. Try and hope for a caution maybe. Because here's the thing. If there's a caution, he's likely going to cycle amongst the front runners. There are only 3 cars on the lead lap with this right now. It's going to be difficult if there isn't a caution, obviously, but this is part of the strategy.
Risky, but it could pay off. It could. You always never know, especially with this group right now, with the way that we've seen so far in the race. Maybe they can get a great timed caution, maybe. That second pack is catching the back bumper of Gitter, but these 3 cars that are working together right now, Delaney, Heitman, and Ryan. Remember, Heitman's still multiple laps down, so he's going to have quite the miraculous comeback to be able to still be involved in this particular race. But he's helping these 2 guys out, being the car to push, and he's trying to help Delaney out. I'm not sure when they'll come down or if they'll come down at all. It's going to be interesting to see what their strategy actually is. I think it is waiting for a caution, like you said, but you never really know with these guys, how they're choosing to do it. But DeCiani has some company. Paul Hill and Dave Hutzma, the 2 lap cars, have tagged on to the back of DeCiani and Gitter. And that actually is helping them tremendously stay ahead of this second pack. If it continues as it is right now and these cars end up getting to the end of the stage and these lap cars somehow help them, they can guarantee their 1-2 spots for the stage points. But we'll see what they choose to do. We'll see if those lappers are able to help.
Gap is about under 2 seconds between DeCiani and Hill at the moment. Or should I say DeCiani and Gitter. And that could potentially close up fully pretty soon here. But still waiting to see when there's a pit call going on for Delaney and Ryan. Ryan is already about 64 laps into his stint at the moment. Was involved in some of the incidents earlier. Needs some luck if he wants to be able to keep some track position here, to say the least, with how things have gone here. Heitman He's just doing Heitman things. Just need to keep up right now. He is right still trying to get himself at least a lap back once the pit stop happens. Let's take a look at the air pack where Bobby is still. Bobby Anderson is still in the hornet's nest of drivers that are essentially in that other big gaggle that is not the lead group.
Yeah, that's third pack there. You can see on your screen the number of packs. We got it looks like 2 big packs and 2 smaller groups. Yeah, that other pack, it looks like they're racing pretty dang hard. Not for a stage finish at all, but they're just racing pretty hard. As it looks like, guess what? We have Chris Hill catching the back bumper of Gitter. They are there. The lap cars have excused themselves from the conversation. And does DeCiani, is he going to go up the block? No, he does not. He chooses to stay on the bottom with Gitter.
Good pushing yet again. Matthew Long's car, a great push car. They drive all the way around. Some pit conversation, by the way, between the 6 and the 51. So you see now, Chris Hill leads the net main pack at the moment. Jonathan Delaney is currently dictating strategy for Delaney and Ryan over the radio at the moment on what he's doing to make sure they're in sync. Some of the other drivers are in. That includes Bobby Anderson.
Bobby Anderson already came down, gave up his third place. Oh, contact! Hill hit the wall. It's bad push by the 26. Hill's got bad damage on the right front. His right front is bent, and he is going to have some heavy right front suspension damage. A bad push from the 28.
No caution. We stay green. See if we can get a glance as the 96 took a glance into the wall. That's going to require him to need the caution to be able to fix up the car and sacrifice track position potentially as a result of a slide like that, as you just talked about. Let's take a look at it.
He's blocking the top lane of that 28. He was giving them a shove, and the block was still happening, and he got himself up into the wall. And he had pretty considerable contact. I think that right front is bent in. It looks slightly bent in on my angle here from what I could see. So he's going to have some minor wheel damage here. He's going to have to get that fixed if he wants to be competitive, as it looks like Jeremy Miller now leads this particular pack to the line. Let's see, is that right? I believe so. Yes, he does. With DeCiani running in second still. What a move by Miller to be able to get up to the front. That's one way to be able to do it. That's for sure.
No tires taken just now by Delaney and Ryan in the pit lane. And they may cycle towards the front here. They're just coming off pit road now. I think actually this main pack's going to get him. Yes, they will. Main pack's going to get him. As there they go. Jeremy Miller, net race leader, overall race leader, now on track. But DeCiani, Gitter, Hill lined up at the top 4. Dustin Hall is now in the top 5.
He's made a lot of progress here today. Seems like he's gone from mid-pack up to the top 10. He dropped back again. He got back up front. And it looks like now that we have a lap car there, that is Paul Hill that is holding up the second pack. It looks like Thomas Kulmacheski on the outside trying to get by those guys. But this front lead pack, again, we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 cars all there in this front little single file line ahead of the pack that we're currently looking at right now as they head through the corner. That second pack is going to be losing time because they're running side by side, so I don't anticipate them hopping in. That's the battle for 8th and 9th and 10th back there. But for now, Miller, he's got control. We haven't seen him up front that much in terms of having control of the race because we've seen Hill have most of the control all day. But now with that damage, I don't think he's able to lead a line as easily as he may have prior. DeCiani is backing up to the back bumper of Gitter, creating a gap. I think he's trying to get a run on the back of Miller. Here he comes. He's going through this tri-oval. I don't think he's going to make a move. He gives Miller a shot, but no move made yet, as it looks like that second pack actually has caught, that's Kulmacheski, caught the back of this pack.
Yeah, all sorts of scattering right now with some people trying to make some blocks. Seminario now trying to find a way to get the outside line going. Less than 10 laps to go on the stage. The Conti cars are starting to wake up. Seminario, and that's a steering wheel, by the way, that's on that shelving unit in the background. He's trying to keep himself sturdy on the wheel alongside Hill.
Not a cat, it's a steering wheel. There we go. Thank you for that there, Justin. Appreciate that. But the outside line is coming back, and he's being led by Dustin Hall. Dustin, he won his duel back when we had the Daytona duel races. And now he's trying to lead this outside line back to get up to the front for the end of the stage. As we cross the stripe, we have 6 laps to go, I believe. 7 laps to go. 7 laps to go, correction. 7 laps to go left in the stage. Not sure exactly who's going to be able to hang on, but the outside line's got motion so much so that out to the outside. What on earth is happening? Oh my gosh, Heitman! The 2 lap cars just blocked both lanes. I think that Heitman did that to help his teammate, there goes, they collect, there's a car around, one's flipping upside down again this week. It is Jeremy Clapper Newell upside down, but multiple cars involved in that particular wreck. DeCiani involved as well.
Under caution yet again as another big incident, this time in the main pack. Chris Hill amongst those significantly destroyed on the front straightaway. This is not the stage. This is still going to have a couple more laps to go in stage 2.
We're going to be able to take a look at this here in a moment. It's going to be in slow-mo. Here we go. Let's ride here. Here they go into turns 3 and 4. 3 wide there for a second. The lapper gets up and out of the way. But Patrick Gitter, he gets involved in this Daytona 500 winner. You can see the contact from Gitter to the back of DeCiani. Collects the 96, who was so dominant all day today, and so was Gitter, and so was DeCiani. The entirety of that team was doing so well today. But after that accident, you could see up in the air, flying upside down as he crosses the start-finish line. He crosses that line upside down to get the caution flag. That's Clapper Newell. Somehow, we got another one. It seems like in every race that we've had so far this year, we've had a car end up upside down. So definitely not something you wanted to see. A lot of cars involved, a lot of damage. I even saw the 8-car Ralph Hutchinson is the car that got the heavy front-end damage to flip the car over. You're on board now. Oh, my golly gracious. You do not want to be on board that one. Whew. That is not a fun picture to watch. No, it is not.
It puts under caution late in the stage. And this really is going to shuffle things in the battle for stage points. Should be a shootout of a couple laps at most here. Jeremy Miller going to have to be perfect off this restart if he wants to get the stage, especially with the teammate going to be potentially behind him for the restart. And it looks like the Fortis cars who are amongst that damage are just going to sprint their way to pit road, not take a chance on stage points with the damage.
Smart choice. Their cars are killed. They got really bad damage in that wreck. I don't anticipate them coming back. I mean, that is terminal damage. The car on the right front, you can see it's not even rolling. That's Patrick Gitter's right front. So he goes from the highest of highs, winning the Daytona FLCC 500, to now being wrecked out of Atlanta. So not the best of situations, but yeah, that definitely took out a lot of contenders, and that's going to open the door for some of these guys that haven't been up front most of the day. I mean, guys like Dustin Hall, who's just been outside the top 5 most of this race, that's going to open the door for him. We were talking about how good he was doing coming back from a 22nd place starting position and working his way methodically through the field. And now he's going to have a chance to possibly even win the stage, as the top 5 is Jeremy Miller, Matthew Long, Alex Murray, Dustin Hall, and Johan Seminario, who is recovering after his hectic flip at Daytona, where he ended up sliding on his roof for almost a whole football field. But now he's back. He's doing well. His car's in good shape, and he's going to try and see if he could get some stage points. We have in just a couple laps. We'll see who is able to pick those up.
Absolutely. This is going to be a wild end to the stage potentially here. Looking like it may be a 2-lap sprint to the end of stage 2. way things are looking here. Again, your top 10 looks like this right now. Miller, Lawn, Murray, Hall, Seminario, then Williams, Hodgson, Pearson, Komacheski, Soziak, or how they're lined up. Ralph A. Hudson just picked up an EOL penalty during this pit cycle. Chris Hill is officially out of the race, as well as Brandon Hastings, by the way, from crash damage. And it looks,
man.
And we'll see if the 1 and 3 place spots get the bottom. Yes, they will. Teammates will stay on the bottom here for the restart.
Smart. That's what they got to do. I mean, at this point, work together, try to get the stage point, get a playoff point, do what you got to do. It's a smart decision to start on the bottom. It seems like that worked a little while, but the outside line still seems to be a very popular one. But he can't choose the outside line because he's got a teammate right behind him. It's smarter to work with your teammate than it is to try and have a competition up on the outside. So at this point, he's doing the right thing. Double file heading out of turn number 2. At this point, we have a lot of cars that have collected a lot of damage. And some cars that have just gotten back on the lead lap as well. Hutchinson's got a lot of front end damage, so we don't anticipate him popping back up here in this lead pack for a while. We'll have an exact number of cars out of the race once we get complete with this little 2-lap dash for the finish here to see who will win the stage. And cautions breed cautions. I hate to say it, but it's the truth of the matter. So when we're going on this restart, these top 10 guys are going to be ultra aggressive, trying to get every point that they can, and we'll see if they're able to survive. I mean, that's what they got to do. We're almost to the start of this one, so we're going to go ahead and hand it off as they head out of 4. Side by side, pace car is going to dive.
Here we go. A 2-lap dash for stage 2. Teammates control the inside. They get the zip. Miller and Murray off and away. They try to control things to see if they can keep in front. Now it looks like the outside's completely dissipated.
Yep, gone. I don't see any momentum coming on the outside. The battle right now for the outside line is back at 6th. That outside line is going to be gaining some momentum, but there's going to be a slight checkup back there, so we got to be careful, hoping that nobody spins anybody. But up front, it is Alex Murray, Jeremy Miller, Matthew Long, Seminario, Dustin Hall. Round out the 5 cars that have gotten up to the front with 1 lap to go left in this stage. The battle is on. Who will get the stage point? Will be Miller, will be Murray.
Will Murray leave out his teammate, or will he stay glued to the bumper? He's been glued to the bumper this whole entire stretch. Here comes one tandem, a block by Matthew Long. No blocks coming from Murray. Long stays in line. Green and white checkered for stage 2. It's Jeremy Miller who picks up the stage. Murray, Long, Seminario, Hall, Hodgson, Komacheski, Williams, Marty, Pearson. Your top 10 for stage 2. And a good end to the second stage right there. Kept it clean. But now that brings us into the home stretch here, Marty, or rather Kirk.
Yeah, we're down, and now the race has really just begun. That's the way I see it. We got about 198 laps to go in this race now, under caution now. These guys have got to go out there, and they're going to do whatever it takes to lead and win this race. They got to get away from the rest of the pack. I think that they'll do a good job at it. We'll see how they're able to handle it as we get to the end of that stage.
Yeah. 2 stages complete. Again, under caution here as the field gets itself resorted and rekindled here.
They're heading down on the pit road to get some fuel and tires. That's a smart choice right now. They're all coming down. It looks like only one's going to stay out, but that's a lapper, so it's not going to be too... Actually, no, it's not. That's Lucas Hoetzma. He decides that he wants to stay out. That's okay with him. He wants to be able to make some strategy call here, so we'll see what he chooses to do. They're all coming down pit lane, and they're going to come down and get some fuel and tires.
Interesting enough, Hoetzma, Delaney, Ryan came in under the caution, electing to stay out of the racetrack, so they are off cycle a little bit, but do get track position now built up here. That's going to be good for them. So these four, including Stephen Williams now, going to be in control up front. Pit stops conclude with Jeremy Miller winning the race out pit road. Take a step aside. Restart coming up, under 100 to go here from Atlanta.
Racing isn't easy, but experiencing it is. iRacing puts you in the driver's seat with the industry's leading sim racing game. Drive on laser scan replicas of the greatest racing circuits from around the world. Go head-to-head against other drivers chosen by skill-based matchmaking to ensure competitive racing at every level. Compete across all your favorite series. In officially licensed cars, engineered to deliver the most accurate driving experience possible. Join a race or host your own with players from across the globe. Race against the computer or in a league with friends. Feel the thrill behind the wheel. Visit iRacing.com.
A thriving job market and low cost of living, plus a wide range of veteran benefits, make Indiana the perfect place for veterans of the United States military to call home. InVets can help you find that home. We're an organization started by veterans to help former service members transition to civilian life in our state. InVets can help you find the community with the career opportunities, housing, schools, and amenities that fit your lifestyle. To learn more about InVets, visit us at invets.org today.
Welcome back, everyone, to Hotlanta as we get set for the restart. To start off stage 3, less than 100 laps to go, a 96-lap sprint to the race finish here in this one. Justin Prince, Kirk Mills with you, Marty Sakawa producing, as Hoytsma, Delaney, Ryan, and Williams all stayed out under this caution period. They all had pit in the caution just prior to the 2-lap sprint for the end of stage 2. So, no harm, no foul. They get track position after not having it if it would have stayed green. Here we go for the restart. Hoytsma in the Jeff Gordon throwback. William Byron look, I should say, off and away.
Great restart there by Lucas Hoetzma. He's able to pull out ahead of Delaney there, and he has a choice of which lane he wants to run in. So definitely making the right choice by holding on to that bottom. It seems like the outside line's not doing too hot at this time.
The inside line getting some good boost. Once again, Delaney left. Try and pick up the pieces from the top line. And now it's about the time soon that you have to see drivers make some moves here to get to the front. Oh, it looks like they've ditched one driver. Stephen Williams shuffled to the third line.
Yeah, you're right. Exactly. They made a move to kick him out. He just went straight to the back. He made a hole and he went right into it. So it seems like right now the outside line, if you don't want to have that happen to you, make sure you are right on the bottom line. Make sure you're pushing them down. Because that could happen to any one of these guys. But now he's so far back, he's back in the back 20s. He went from being in the top 10 to back 20s.
But Hoytsma's been planning and plotting all throughout this race. He's one of the drivers tonight that's running with RH Motorsports. Now part of that grouping, part of that alliance. They also had Jason S. Taylor, part of that alliance tonight. Jonathan Delaney. You also had, of course, Ralph Hutchinson himself. Amongst those in that grouping, and some of those drivers now coming up and emerging up front. Here comes Jeremy Miller back to the lead.
Delaney gave him a huge shot up to the front, and it cleared so much that Matthew Long even was able to find a spot here. But that leaves Nolan Hodgson out to dry to the outside. But I do want to talk about one particular driver in this group that's surprising me. Ed Ryan was involved in a lot of accidents earlier in this race, but he is still sitting pretty up here in the front now in the top 10. Somehow he was able to recover from all those wrecks that he had early in the event and come back to the point where he can be competitive and try to win this race. He's in the lead pack, he's in position, and you got to give him some props to be able to come back from those accidents.
Yeah, not bad at all. As we see our look at Hodson, he's been up in the top 10 much of this race. Not bad again from the youngster as he now tries to get that top going again. He does not want to ride. Oh, a big push up front. Delaney nearly shoved Jeremy Miller out of the way.
Huge checkup on the bottom lane with Dustin Hall back there. He was running in the top 10, but now he drops back to 15th. But up front, Hodson, he's got to run. Here he comes to the outside of Miller. They're even going into 3. They are side by side, and guess who's pushing him right there? It is Jordan Pearson who is pushing him, and I can tell you, knowing that he pushed me to 4th place last night, Jordan Pearson is a great pusher. He's very respectful. I don't anticipate any problems from him, but that could be that he's also he's trying to make sure he stays up here. But one thing I noticed is that not a lot of people wanted to work with Nolan so far. We just had another car, the 8 car, looks like that he has his damage repaired. Ralph Hutchinson back up into the top 10, somehow was able to repair his front end damage after sending Clapper Newell up into the air, up and over. He's now back up into the top 10, so it is an attrition race, but you can recover from it. You see him, you're on board with him now. All right, he's having a great old time. The whole camera's shaking, his whole house is on fire, shaking. That's awesome, man.
Yeah, he's pushing so hard that the house is shaking, absolutely pushing him, trying to plow his way ahead. He's got the 97 moving forward now with that pushing and the shoving as well. Trying to gain all that track position, but there's still 88 laps to work with here. And right now it becomes the question, do we see this move towards the calmer way, or do we start seeing people be more racy? Derek Heitman, despite being multiple laps down, is staying racy. At the moment, Heitman is the first driver a lap down, looking to lap himself the hard way.
He unlapped himself when he blocked the majority of the field there when he was 3 laps down. He got one of his laps back then. And I think he was even the what they call free pass at that time to be able to get another one back. So at that point, he got back down to 1 lap down. So now he just needs to lead this pack, have a caution, and then boom, he's back on the lead lap or ride where he is. As it looks like Jeremy Miller gets dumped. Here comes Delaney to the outside, being pushed by Matthew Long. They are working together to try and control this race up to the top. Delaney leads as they cross the stripe on lap 175.
And yet again, Long a pusher. Apologies for that technical blip as they continue to circulate around the racetrack. Still lots of laps to work with here. I will say, Fortis has been trying to control things, but the RH Motorsports machines been able to disrupt the status quo with the help of Dirty South now. Here comes Dodson from a pile up to the lead.
Look at Dodson. He's getting help from Heitman, and he is loving every second of this right now. I'm surprised that he's able to get up here because we haven't seen Dodson up in the front most of this race whatsoever, and he got involved in an accident at Daytona. He was in the wrecks here earlier in this particular race, but now look at him. He's leading this race on the outside line, being pushed by Heitman, and at this point, he's doing what he's got to do to try and control this race. He's the leader. He led his first lap of the day just then. Will Delaney try to get back on his rear bumper? They're even as they head out of 2. They're just even as they head down the back straightaway. But now the outside line's got a little bit of a run. Now, what I want to find out is I don't know so much if Heitman will be willing to keep pushing him if he finds himself being cleared to the bottom. I think that Heitman wants to get in front of Delaney. And Carl might want to know that. Because if he does, he's going to dive down and it's going to be over for him. But nope, they both dive down right in front of Delaney. So now, no matter what, we know for a fact that Heitman is the first car 1 lap down, but we're coming up on a lap car of Awan Petrovic. He's going out to the outside. That's going to be 3 wide for the field for a minute as Juan Petrovic actually hits the wall in the back of the pack. We won't need to worry about that for now. It does not look like it's going to be causing too much of an issue back there. They're hanging on to it. These leaders, that bottom lane seems to be the line that's prevailing time and time again, unless you get a very determined pusher on the outside line, which guess what? Right now, we just had Paul Hill lose his pusher, and he's going back. Tanner Marty's trying to push him, but it's going to be a minute before they get another run. Oh, Paul Hill just dived right back in the line, and now Tanner Marty leads the outside.
Going to see a lot of shuffling as this race goes on now with the lines, with more and more people start to get track position. But again, teammates 1 and 2 in the line, I should say, control the tempo. For the first time, it's Dodson for Fortis controlling things. Now that they've had their luck shred away with incidents. Now, the thing's going to be eventually here, how is that planning going to work amongst the teamwork, I should say.
Oh my gosh, they're down on the apron. They save it. I don't think that they're going to cause the accident. Oh man, they're still sliding. Yep. Okay, one just got clipped. They are wrecking in turns 3 and 4 around. That's going to bring out the 10th caution of the night. Wow, man, they thought they had it saved, but they did not. Oh, that's unfortunate. 26. Oh, that is, I believe, Paul Hill involved again in that Pop-Tart machine with Jeremy Miller. Also, he was running in the front of this pack for a lot of this race. Now, both with damage.
Back under caution. Jeremy Miller got bumped in a stack up. And it stacks up for another caution. Let's try and take a look.
Comes down. Oh my goodness gracious. I don't know how that was essentially called. I think there was a checkup at the same time that Paul Hill tried to get into the line. That's a possibility. It could have been a checkup. But yeah, that definitely is going to change some things as we have some takers on pit road. Dodson, who was leading this race, is coming down with Delaney and Matthew Long, but everybody else, Seminario is staying out. It's a split field for those that are staying out and those that are pitting.
Interesting calls here. Still outside the window to make it on the race, but it may change things up like stage 2 on how people want to handle the pit stops. A lot of people coming in and taking some fresh grip while they can as well. Some new Goodyear Eagles onto the race cars. Looks like Lucas Hoytsma running his pit stop. First out of the pit lane will be Matthew Long in this window.
I think it's smart to pit right here, because then whenever you do have to pit later, because they can't make it, but what they can do is they can take less fuel. You could pit for a shorter amount of time, so that way you don't have to take as many gallons as everybody else, and you can make it to the end, and you'll be able to jump in front of everybody who has to wait in their pit stall to be able to get more gas. I mean, it's a smart move by all those that just pitted. These guys that are staying out, what I think they're relying on is a caution, a crash, something that will make it so they do not have to do another round of green flag pit stops. That is what everybody who's staying out is betting on. That's the only reason that staying out makes any sense. And that is to be able to obtain track position and have these cautions keep running. As we're already on our 10th caution and we're at lap 183. More caution. I guarantee you this is not the last caution. This is not going to be the last one that we see tonight. So at this point, they got to be able to make that choice. Are they going to be coming down to the pit lane, get some top off, get fuel, make sure they can make it? Or are they going to bet on the cautions, which is not a bad gamble. I wouldn't say it's a bad gamble here.
One to green coming up here as it looks like Derek Heitman had to take the wave around because he was up front, may have had a bump trap to the wrong time instead of getting just the simple lucky dog. So that's going to put 23 cars now on the lead lap. But it's now Conti cars up front. Team Conti. Some conversation for those watching along tonight, Kirk. And now the Conti cars, after being strong contenders all race at Daytona, well, they're finally making their presence known in the later stages here.
Oh, we knew that they were here, of course. Team Conti, with it being a giant name like it is, of course, these guys are going to be in this field, and they're going to be trying to do their best to control the field now. The other team that did that, tried to do that, unfortunately got into an accident, crumbled around them. However, this time,
I highly recommend it. Good as jam printing.
Jonathan Delaney is in 10th. This upcoming restart. The first to pit was Matthew Long. So 7 drivers stayed out for the track position here. See how they handle things up front. It's Team Conti 1 and 2. Green flag is out, back and away.
Seminario on the bottom's got a great restart. We'll see if Hall is going to be able to pull down in front of Pearson. I don't think he's going to be able to. Oh, he barely made that work. Oh, man, that put Hodgson out to dry. Will he get in? He does. He gets in. So now single file from the front 6. But as they head down the back straightaway, they're just going to probably at this point is the best point is to ride. Riding is what I'm hearing. But we got Delaney on the outside line. Delaney, he pitted that time around. He's pushing Matthew Long. And these guys, they don't want to ride. They want to get to the front, and they want to do it now.
Still looking to try and square things up here with less than 75 laps to go. Oh, that's with drivers like Long and Delaney trying to lead an outside group going here. It's going to take a lot of planning now, but now expecting pit stops with about 40, maybe 30 laps to go for much of this field. If things go green, this run continues to the checker flag.
They are 3 wide back in the pack, and guess who it is? The car that got dumped out last time, Stephen Williams, he got put back up into the top lane again. Up top, 3 wide. Definitely, he probably does not like being up there right now. But that's where you got to be sometimes whenever folks make a move on you. But that outside line is gaining momentum. They have now reached the 5th car and now trying to get up to the 4th car on the inside line. We'll see if he's able to do it as they're coming through turns 1 and 2 and onto the backstretch. As multiple cars have decided to fall off the tail end of the lead pack, and they are trying to be a little safer, I think, and that is the drivers like Chris Bowling or Robert Miller. These guys, oh my gosh, as I say that, Carl Dodson just spun around Robert Miller. He's in the wall, and he stopped on the outside. Slight contact, that's going to bring the caution out. Oh my gosh, I feel like I jinxed it. I hate to say that, but they were just riding, it looked like, but Dodson just turned Miller.
Back under a caution. Let's see if we can take a look here as contact loops around the 9, off the nose of the 9. Once again, contact for Robert Miller, 18 laps down.
Yep, you hate to see it. That type of racing, it's unfortunate. He just got spun, but the good news is I mean, it's not going to end his race necessarily. He's already technically out, so it's not going to be that big of a deal, but it's going to change up this lead pack.
Let's take a break. 71 to go here from Atlanta.
When you want to be the best, you can't settle for the rest. For anything on iRacing, there's just one name you need, Maconi.
With the launch of Maconi Entertainment and Maconi Competizone alongside Maconi Setup Shop, we now provide the best of the best in setups, paint schemes, coaching, broadcasting, and event organization.
With cars across all 4 license classes, we have what you need to hit the track with confidence. Grab a subscription and save money while going fast at MaconiSetupShop.com/subscriptions.
And remember, at Maconi Setup Shop, there are setups, but your victories.
I highly recommend it. You won't find anybody as good as Jam Printing.
Jam is a friendly and professional company that just doesn't do print to make sure that you grow and your business grows to the next level.
They are a very community-focused organization. They donate to every event in the area.
Every time I hand out one of Jam's printed materials, I get a ton of compliments, and that's the power of Jam Printing.
One thing with Jam is it is a veteran-owned company, and that really resonates with me.
Jam Printing is like no other. Their dedication to customer service is amazing.
If you're looking to amp up your marketing, Jam Printing and Promotions is the place to go.
Welcome back, everyone, to Atlanta as more pit strategy under this caution. Several drivers think they may be able to make it to the end on fuel here as much of the field peeled in. Matthew Long, Jonathan Delaney, several others came down and took some fuel. And that's going to make it interesting. We said they can make it to just about 70 laps, Kirk. Now they're going to really test that theory here.
I mean, it brings it right to the cusp of making it, so I think they're going to have to save a little bit of gas here on this restart, which is going to possibly bring down the chaos, hopefully. But if it doesn't, then great. We'll see some crazy, chaotic, normal Atlanta racing, it seems like. But we're about to get ready to go back green as we're heading through turns 3 and 4 right now, side by side for these drivers all the way through the field. We only seem to have 25 cars that are at least one lap down, with 23 cars on the lead lap at this time as we come off turn 4. Pace car dives in the pit lane. Here we go.
Still the Conti cars in control. Seminario and Hall up front, back of the way. Both of them hit the loud pedal. They also have John Williams with them on their strategy. Dotson still cannot make it either. If it was to stay green, all 4 of those drivers trying to play there's going to be another caution game.
There is! Right there! They're around in the back straightaway!
More cautions, and this time it's the 14. Pearson going around on the back straightaway from 17th. And we're back under yellow.
Yeah, it looks like that. It was just a checkup. Nolan Hodgson had a checkup, and just unfortunate. It collects the 62 who actually hit the incident limit. They have been disqualified from the race. That is, I believe it was a 62. Let's take a look at that here. You can see, sorry, it might be the, yep, it was a 62. They're coming through the corner here. Checkup from the 37, contact with the 76 of Heitman, sends him into the wall. and we're lucky to just have that many cars involved in that accident and not more. More cars most certainly could have gotten into that, but instead, it just looks like a 2-car incident with one of them being taken out of the race.
You're in for the Conti camp, even with this still 5 to 7 laps of fuel save here. As a lot of hard hit here.
They're going to be able to save the fuel, especially with these cautions. If it keeps happening like it is, then yeah, I don't anticipate any problems at all with the fuel save. They just got to shut the car off under caution, pull in the clutch, and coast. But it looks like we have some guys electing to pit right now. Heitman, Hodgson, a few more that were around that area. Alex Murray, who was running 11th. We also have Seminario, who's the leader, down on pit road. Everybody's coming down to get some gas and tires, make sure they can make it to the end of this thing.
Yeah, this is going to be big for these drivers. This should definitely get them just about good on fuel, if not right at the borderline. The only driver not to pit that is definitely not in the green zone on fuel is Carl Dodson.
Yep, it looks like he's staying out. He's going to have to... I don't know exactly what he's... Well, you can see him. He's actually coasting the car right now. He shuts off the car, turns it back on, gets some throttle into it, right? You see his car's off right now. He's so much so that Delaney's even passing him. He turns it back on, gets a big run. He turns the car off, puts in the clutch, and the car it's coasting. No engine running. It's all off. And he's just coasting at this point, trying to save every single ounce of fuel he can to try and make it to the end of this race without having to come in and top off. He's trying to do, he's trying to have a better position on track. Track position is what he's trying to aim for. And that's what he needs, because last time, the only time that he was able to get to the front was with a giant push from one of the best pushers in the business, Derek Heitman. Other than that, I hadn't seen him up front that much whatsoever in this race. So he's now that he has a track position, his only goal should be, I don't want to lose it.
So now we'll see what happens in this stretch. Want to go signal already. A lot of clutch and coasting for the whole field now, as this field has been mixed up. Of note, John Williams just had to come down. Robert Miller just parked it for the night.
Sounds like that's it for the day for them. You hate to see it. Neil Pearson and it looks like Jordan Pearson's, correction. Both Pearsons involved, different spellings, same pronunciations. Both were involved in that last accident, and they both got taken out. So now we have, it looks like, possibly 21 cars left on the lead lap. Most of them might still have damage. So of some shape or form, like for example, the 8 car, Ralph Hutchinson, flipped the car over earlier in this race, and he's the 2nd car on the bottom lane. It's amazing that they're able to recover like this, but it's all circumstantial, and it's all about making it to the end. And we'll see which one of them is able to do so as we're getting ready to get back underway. Fuel save mode definitely turned on for these guys.
Getting ready to go back underway. Green flag is out. Johnson leads the field. That's 2 of the RH machines in 2nd and 3rd. And a dirty self car now moves to the bottom. Lucas Hoitzma also in that RH camp, rounding up the top 5 as Delaney finds a hole and straight to the bottom for the fuel save.
That makes the top 6 all single file, as the outside line now being led by Jeremy Miller's giving a huge shot from Johan Seminario out to the outside. He's now even with Hutzma as they head through the corner now, trying to get to the 6th car of Delaney. He's got Delaney. Are they going to try and go all the way up to the front, considering these guys are saving gas? I mean, they can. They are more than able to do that. And looks like that's what he's doing. He's got the momentum. That outside line is pushing hard, and they're coming up to the back bumper of Matthew Long now. I'm not sure if they're going to be able to take over the control of this particular race. But I guarantee you these lead 2 cars here are going to be trying to control the pace. If they want folks to save fuel, they can most certainly do that. But it does not look like they're trying to save much right now. They are pushing up in the front to the point where they don't want the outside line to try and overtake them.
They are trying to push a little bit at least, try and keep some momentum going because why not? But right now, remember this middle line going to be using a lot more fuel at the moment compared to just wrapping the bottom.
Oh man, almost a bad push by Johan Seminario. They were able to hang on to it. As it looks like that the lead pack has lost a collection of drivers at the back with some damage. So they are most likely not going to be contenders here, or they're just trying to avoid the big one. We're looking right now at this lead pack with the 86 leading the outside lane there, trying to do whatever it takes to get back up here to the front, but it's going to be a lot of work. But it looks like they might have a slight run here. Will Delaney jump up and try to go with them? He thought about it for a second, thought better of it, and now that outside line's coming. Here he comes.
All the way up the wall, just about up to the third line with how much they were pushing. Interesting enough, we haven't seen a third line develop all race. Now Dodson trying to block his way up front. He does not want to lose this race lead. Miller looking to cut to the bottom, goes to the bumper.
All around Hutchinson, he hangs on to it, he saves it. Will he stay on the bottom of the track? He does. Does not look like he's spinning out quite yet. He's hanging on to it in the grass, and it looks like others are trying to not crash around him. He's able to continue, but with the new leader now is Johan Seminario has taken over this lead with Nolan Hodgson taking over second, and it looks like Carl Dodson has lost control of the front pack.
No caution. Under 60 laps to go. Seminario, with all of that sliding, has now taken over the front spot. Look who's coming, though. Ed Ryan and Derek Heitman. Heitman from back to front. And he pushes right into Seminario.
He DQ'd himself. He turned him down into the leader, and that DQ'd him.
Wow, Ed Ryan from second spot gets a DQ, and that has really broken up the pack. Seminario, Hudson, Dodson, now the top three, as this has now imploded the runs up front.
Man, you got to feel for Ed Ryan. He was through so much adversity. Let's take a look at it. You can see he goes to the corner. Bad push by Heitman in the corner, sends him down, and it gives him a 4X, takes him out of this race. He just had a lot of incidents today, and unfortunately it's going to be his undoing. Only 3 cars have pulled away from this rest of the lead pack here that Heitman is leading. That is, again, Seminario. We got Nolan Hodgson, and, of course, Carl Dodson. These guys are the only 3 that are currently leading this thing with... Heitman's got to start getting close to that incident point level, because he was involved in a handful of these accidents. I'm not sure exactly how many incidents he has, but he must be coming close to the DQ number.
And you see all the onboards with the top 3 and their various looks right now on screen. See them all trying to keep laser focused at this point as they control the front spots. Dodson fans out and blocks Heitman. That is a teammate. That actually might be a good thing. Fortis now hooks up on the outside. Heitman wants his lead back after those repairs after stage 1.
He just lost his other pushing partner, so he just gained a new one. Dodson takes the lead spot. Is he going to try and help his teammate get clear? He does. They are clear to the bottom if they want it, but no, Heitman almost turned Dodson when they went to the bottom there, but he hanged on to it. Now it's single file throughout this field.
Now we might see things calm down for the next little bit. We still have 53 laps to go. Still in this conversation too, it's worth noting. Bobby Anderson's also in this pack. You also have Andrew Dyson that's been in this conversation all race. You see him now with a 41 machine. We haven't talked about this driver all race. He started just outside the top 10. He's been around the edges of the top 10 all day.
Talking about Andrew Dyson, right? I mean,
yes.
Honestly, I am surprised that we haven't talked about him whatsoever in this race. Him and Thomas Kulmacheski, they're both running nose to tail. We hadn't talked about them much in this race, but now that they are running up in the top 10, we kind of have to mention them. Look at them. They're doing a great job. They're in a good position, and they got to be able to be smart about how they're going to be able to go forward, because they got Delaney in front of them. They got all the heavy hitters that they got to be able to get by. But another driver that's impressed me is Bobby Anderson is back, and he somehow got all of his laps back. He has all of his damage repaired, and he's running in 6th, which is phenomenal. All these guys have been involved in accidents all day, but somehow they are still running in the front pack, and they have a shot. And that, you got to give props to the entire team to be able to make sure that they don't make their damage worse, don't put themselves in worse positions, and when they do crash, they don't hit anything crazy hard. So they're able to get the job done and repaired and put them back in a great position.
And right now, this pack just slithering its way around the racetrack. Conversations over the radio as drivers try and keep themselves laser focused at this point. Still less than 49 laps to go this time by. And there are other drivers in this pack too that have been bounced around a lot, like Kulmacheski. Some drivers are dealing with significant damage, like that 88 to the back bumper, that are going to impact them the rest of the way. At this point, 15 drivers are in the conversation for this race win here, Kurt.
Any one of them could do it. I mean, at this point, with the wrecks that we've seen and what can happen, any one of them can win this race. If they're in this lead pack, they have a chance, but definitely the top 5, they must be feeling pretty dang good. They got a good shot here, but really impressive to see Derek Heitman go from 3 laps down to running in 2nd. I mean, that's phenomenal job by him and his team to get him there, but now he's just got to survive. He's got to get to the end as they're coming up on a lap car. That's Ralph Hutchinson. He is the last car on the lead lap. He's going to try and block. He stays on the bottom. He's not going to get out of the way easily. He's going to have to tag onto the back of this field. He will be the only car, with the exception of Noah Hamilton, who is a lap down, but Noah's a part of that 2nd pack. So if a caution were to come out, Ralph Hutchinson just will get the free pass. But it looks like Anderson got left out on the outside to be able to make room for Hutchinson. So now Anderson's going to find a hole to get back in. Luckily, he didn't go all the way to the back, but he did lose a few spots because of that exchange.
Yeah, so right now, plotting continues on to see what happens at this point too. You have to remember, these drivers have been battling for more than 2 hours, 2.5 hours. And it's getting to where some of these drivers are going to get more and more squirrely, because some of these drivers are going to be on older tires. Some people are treating the tire strat, I will say, like Daytona, which a year ago would have been you're spinning out by lap 20. These cars have been a lot more planted this year.
They came here with the plan to be able to make these cars have more downforce. All the setup, all the folks I've talked to have been talking about making sure their setups are not as loose as they were in previous times that they have gone to Atlanta. They tried to focus on getting some sort of downforce, making some adjustments to make it happen, sacrificing speed for reliability and for stability. You got to be able to make sure that your car stays planted when you get a push, or you'll end up getting spun around. We saw that earlier with multiple drivers throughout this race. But now the top 3 doing a 3-way tandem here, giving a huge shot. And now Carl Dodson leading this race. I mean, what do you think is going through his mind right now? You're leading this thing. You have just a handful of laps to go, and you got a teammate on your 6 trying to help you out, but you don't know if he wants to try and win this thing, because he so desperately tried to win Daytona and just came up short and wasn't able to do it. But this time, he's out here, he's trying, and he has a great opportunity sitting in 2nd. He's going to be able to make the move, but what is Carl Dodson thinking right now, leading this race? I have no idea what could be going through his mind, other than looking directly in that mirror, making sure if you see anything unnatural to go up and block it. So that's all I'd be thinking about. But having a teammate there might be putting him at ease.
Potentially here. We'll have to keep an eye on things. What about those who don't have the teammates? What's going through their mind where you might not be able to get that teamwork up front, where you have to rely on someone who might not have the same mindset as you in a little bit?
Honestly, you're by yourself. You're like, okay, just need to make sure that I'm in the right position to make a move, and know that if you make a move to the outside, probably no one is going to go with you. It's going to be really difficult to have someone go with you if you are a lone wolf. You need someone to be your friend in the back, someone to help you, as we're going by Pearson here on the outside. He was involved in that accident a moment ago. Now puts him down a lap. But these guys, they know that if they make a move, most likely, unless they have a ginormous run, it's going to be hard to convince one of these guys that does have a teammate to go with them instead. It's going to be really hard. So you got to be thinking of ways to stay in the preferred line, but still somehow make passes, which is above and beyond and hard to do. And so they're listening. If you ever seen the movie Shrek, they got that song, "'Cause I'm alone. There's nobody here beside me." That's what's happening in their mind. They're listening to that, and they're like, I just got to make sure I hang on to my position and don't let nobody by on the bottom and don't get freight trained. Or at least make a friend. Start emailing people. Try to find a private message. I don't know. There's a lot of things these drivers could do to try and stay with this pack, but there's not a lot of promising options when you have no one there to help you.
Now, real quickly here, one of the drivers that was involved in one of the earlier incidents in the last stage that is still working with his team at the moment, want to pick the brain of Patrick Gitter, who's currently standing alongside here from Fortis. Patrick, do you have a copy?
10-4, I got you.
Just wanted to get the conversation from your point here, as I know you were involved in the incident earlier. Bad luck in your situation with your car. First of all, what have you been witnessing as the stage has progressed now with you and your teammates?
Yeah, I mean, going back and looking at the replay, I think it was just, cars stacked up on the top, trying to get a run, to get back up front, and I was up on Matt's bumper, and I mean, I was just getting pushed through Matt's bumper. I even was lifting a little bit off exit, and just couldn't get off of him. Just kind of got driven through his bumper, and I know it looked like I did turn him off my nose, but I knew if I braked off corner exit, it was going to stack the line up. I was trying to smoothly get out of the throttle to, not turn Matt, but it's just one way or the other, either me or Matt were getting spun in that situation, unfortunately.
It was an unfortunate situation that ended up collecting a lot of drivers at the time, but what has it been like now watching as this race has gone on? Because I know you've been keeping an eye on things. What has the conversation been like in the Fortis camp now that you have a Team 1-2 up front?
Yeah, I think it's teamwork, and you saw a lot of guys that were being really aggressive around the stage 2 break, and then even at the beginning of stage 3 here. It's all about track position now. Maintaining track position, making sure you're good on the fuel, and I think that's why we're not really seeing many moves being made right now. Just guys, if they're somewhat happy with track position, they're going to keep it, and then if there's any alliances out there, I can guarantee you guys are talking right now, figuring out when they're going to go and who they're going with.
I do have to ask you then, in terms of Dodson, because if the math is correct, he is right now the only person who may be outside the fuel window here. What has he been saying amongst your team discussion?
Yeah, I mean, I think it's, he's in a tricky situation because he's trying to do what he can to make sure he's going to be good on fuel, but also, you don't want to back the pace up so much that you get guys that form a run on the top and get around you. So I think it's just kind of, I know he's biding his time, checking fuel and calculations to see what he can do or needs to do to try to save to make the team there. But I mean, you got two really sharp guys up there with Carl and Derek, and I feel pretty confident they're going to do what they need to do to try to maintain track position and give themselves a shot at lead.
Thank you very much once again for the time. Once again, Patrick, what you get back to your team?
10-4, thanks guys.
Patrick Gitter taking some time to speak with us here as his team is 1-2 in the midst of the plotting and planning stage of the final stretch here. And let's take a quick step aside, side by side right here. 31 to go. Dodson leads from Atlanta.
I highly recommend it. You won't find anybody as good as Jam Printing.
Jam is a friendly and professional company that just doesn't do print to make sure that you grow and your business grows to the next level.
They are a very community-focused organization. They donate to every event in the area.
Every time I hand out one of Jam's printed materials, I get a ton of compliments, and that's the power of Jam Printing.
One thing with Jam is it is a veteran-owned company, and that really resonates with me.
Jam Printing is like no other. Their dedication to customer service is amazing.
If you're looking to amp up your marketing, Jam Printing and Promotions is the place to go.
Racing isn't easy, but experiencing it is. iRacing puts you in the driver's seat with the industry's leading sim racing game. Drive on laser scan replicas of the greatest racing circuits from around the world. Go head to head against other drivers chosen by skill-based matchmaking to ensure competitive racing at every level. Compete across all your favorite series in officially licensed cars engineered to deliver the most accurate driving experience possible. Join a race or host your own with players from across the globe. Race against the computer or in a league with friends. Feel the thrill behind the wheel. Visit iRacing.com.
Welcome back. Less than 25 laps to go here on Maconi Entertainment for more coverage of the full-length Cup Challenge. The Waffle House 400 continues to waffle on forward like a stack of waffles. The metaphors are doing metaphor things as we continue on with the race cars doing race car things. Here, Kirk, still single file, no one taking any risks.
They're coming up on the pack of a bunch of lap cars here in a moment. Looks like that's Noah Hamilton, Matt DeCiani, and also Juan Petrovic. These guys, they're coming up on a pack of 4. But yeah, you're right. Nobody wants to make any moves right now. We're at 2:37 in the race, going to complete lap 2:37. So we're coming down to the nitty-gritty of this. And if you're in the back of the pack, if you're a driver like, say, Stephen Williams, Dustin Hall, Ryan Strunk, Alex Murray or Billy Brickley, the guys who are tagged on the end that are still in the lead lap, Paul Hill even. If you guys want to try and win this race, you got to start planning now. You got to start going now. This is your shot. If you're multiple laps down, like Hoeksma, Hamilton, Pearson, Hutchinson, these guys, yeah, they're gonna need a caution. But we're coming up on lappers. They're gonna be looking high. Dave Hoeksma, there we go. Going to be holding the bottom. That means everybody's going to go to the top. Heitman being pushed by Heitman's pushing Dodson, trying to get by these lappers.
And just trying to drive their way around to the higher groove at the moment. Will they get a decent shot past him is the question. Looks like yes. And it looks like no issues here. Just a little bit more, a couple mile an hour speed difference, like about 5 or 6. Hence why it's taken a little bit of time here. Doesn't hurt the lead pack at all. But this can potentially break things up a little bit with the Serpentine and actually swallow some of these cars up. This might force a top line to develop because the lap cars are not going away.
It did. We have the outside line now, but those lap cars will eventually be moving out of the way. We got Jeremy Miller making a move on Hodgson. He's going up to the outside, and Seminario goes out the block. They are now 3 wide, going through the tri-oval somehow. Nobody gets dumped out to dry. It just seems to work out. I was really surprised by that, but now we're going to have Hutchinson. We're riding on board now with the lap down car of Ralph Hutchinson. He's currently the car that would get the free pass in the event that we have a caution. And he's going to try and hang out where he is or even take over the lead to be able to somehow get his lap back. He's going to need to do something miraculous to do so, though. He's going to need a caution or he's going to have to be leading this thing when a caution does come out, but he needs one desperately.
Getting a little bit racy. On board with the 5, Bobby Anderson pushing up. Pair of Fords hooking up. Bobby Anderson, we see the onboard trying to get himself lined up right with Seminario's bumper and trying to get him lined up to be able to find a way past the 8 car. Less than 18 laps to go.
18 laps to go, just under. Wow. Now, it's been a long race. It's all come down to this. 18 cars on the lead lap, and only 15 of them are in this lead pack. So, I mean, at this point, we'll see who is able to get up to the front because that outside line, Seminario, guess what? He's going to be getting a big run here in a minute. I think that Heitman and Dodson might move up once they get there. I think that's going to happen. Heitman just backed off the back bumper of Dodson. So we'll see if he moves up. Looks like they choose to stay on the bottom for now. No run on the outside quite yet. They're even for third with the outside line.
If it comes down to it, we might see another one of those blocks. We've seen a couple of them tonight. Seminario on board with all the drivers in the pack. Everyone up on the wheel as they're starting to get racy side by side. Now for third spot. Coming up 15 laps to go. They have 4 more lap cars coming up in a few laps time as well. That's going to cause a real big scramble coming up here.
There was slight contact between Jeremy Miller and Seminario, which created a slight gap for the outside line. That's going to kill the outside line's momentum, and back goes Seminario.
They'll have to regroup as they get side drafted aggressively. Seminario losing a lot of time. Coming up 14 laps to go now in this race.
We had a car try to make it 3 wide. Look at that. Alex Murray jumps up to the top, making it 3 wide on the guy who seems to get put 3 wide the most tonight, Stephen Williams. My goodness. We'll see if he's able to hang on to it. But 3 wide doesn't normally work, especially with the marbles up there. We'll see if he's able to hang on to it, as it looks like up front, the top 3 are starting to scoot away a little bit from the rest of the pack, as the 8 car is just waiting for a caution to help him out to get back on the lead lap.
At this point, just hoping he's not involved in anything. That's all you can really say in this part of the race. A lot of people starting to play around with the gearing as Seminario has ducked down to the bottom of the racetrack. They reset and regroup. The 41 of Dyson, the first one up top. There's a look for the Conti car.
Great view. I mean, you got a lot of cars in front of you there. How are you going to get by them? You got to be able to be ready to make the move whenever it comes up. We're coming across the start-finish line now. There we are. heading through turns 1 and 2, they're still single file for the front 10. I don't anticipate any moves as we're coming to about 10 laps to go next time by, I believe. I don't anticipate anybody making any crazy moves for another lap or two, but it's going to be happening very soon, and when it does, it's going to get pretty crazy.
Dodson more than 60 laps into his stint. This is going to be close, very close on his mileage. The outside, starting to see lappers lead the outside. Hutchinson flaring up high. He's trying to get a push for Hoytsma, and Dodson's coming in. Dodson has to pit. Dodson's coming in from the race lead, coming down to the final stretch, coming to 11, making 10 laps to go.
He couldn't do it. He couldn't make it all the way, and that puts him out of contention, and he's going to have to hope for a caution. Here comes the outside line of Hutchinson, again, who is a lap car, but the one who's not a lap car is Hoytsma, who is pushing Hutchinson up into the wall. He's blocking the lap car all the way up into the wall. There was contact and smoke. He goes down to block the bottom. Contact, he's loose. He saves it. They head into turn 3, and they are still. Now, Derek Heitman is making that car 3 lanes wide. My goodness. Still able to hang on to the car, but I guarantee you that Jeremy Miller is not happy after that one. Woo, man. Oh, hang on to it there, Hutchinson. He's in the middle now. He's going to be going back through the sucker hole, which is what I like to call it.
No one helping him as now Heitman getting uber aggressive. He does not want to lose this lead. He chooses to block the top. Seminario to the bumper. Seminario pushed by Murray into the back of Heitman. Now Miller's got some help from Dustin Hall in one of the Conti cars. Home stretch as Heitman tries to block multiple lanes at once.
Oh, we're back, baby. This is racing. We're racing, all right? All day we've been having a whole bunch of strategy, but this is it. Who is it gonna be? We're on board now, looking back from Heitman down to the bottom. But guess who it is? It's Alex Murray. He was running in the back of the field about 10 laps ago, but now he's up to second side by side with Seminario. And also, Paul Hill, who finished second last week, is now into the top group. But Seminario gets into the wall. Contact. They hang on to it. No one goes around, but the outside line loses its momentum. Alex Murray, Heitman, and Jeremy Miller all scoot out.
Paul Hill now a pusher for Seminario as he resets. See the in car as Seminario tries to hold on with the pushes from behind to the corner. Coming up to 6 to go. Closing run. 6 laps to go. Heitman now gets a bit of a buffer with Miller. 2 teammates lined up from Premier in second and third.
We have one stuck in the wall, back in the back, but he's able to hang it straight. We're on board now looking from the third place car. That, again, is Jeremy Miller. We're going through turns 3 and 4. The outside line starting to get more developed. It's going to be having a run here very soon, I anticipate.
They've got to get up there. Looking back from Seminario, 5 laps to go. Oh, they are really demolishing themselves with the side draft right now in the battle for 4th. Traffic now within 10 car lengths. This is going to get interesting with the timing of this traffic.
That's Alex Brinson, who they're going to be coming up on, but they're still single file. For the front 5 cars, almost lost it there. The 6 car, Paul Hill, almost lost it there as they head into turn 1 again. I believe we are now on 5 laps to go. Is that right? 4 to go. 4 laps to go this time by. Heading down the stripe. We're going to get 3. They're passing the lap cars now.
Top 3 now have a big gap. They have lap traffic to use as picks. Can they get around cleanly? Yes, they can. Down to 3 laps to go. And this could be trouble for Heitman. He's got 2 teammates lined up in a perfect spot to try and get around. 4th on back still has yet to get around the traffic.
But that 4th car is definitely gaining ground. The lap cars go below the yellow, the red line to be able to give them room. Here comes Seminario to the outside, being pushed by the 6 car, Paul Hill. We are coming down. 2 laps to go.
2 to go. And right now, Jeremy Miller trying to build up a run to help his own teammate. Murray staying on the bumper of Heitman. Seminario now sees Miller go for the block. Seminario serpentines him, stays to the bottom, breaks up the Premier cars. There goes the teamwork, and there goes the chance for teammates to try and trapped up front. White flag is out. Heitman's pushed out of the way. Heitman's in the grass as the white flag is out. The final time around, it's Alex Murray up front.
That DQ'd Heitman. Now Alex Murray has the lead with Johan Seminario running in second. They're wrecking behind 2 cars hard into the inside wall, but here comes the 6 of Paul Hill. Not enough room, but now Nolan Hodgson to the outside. Around goes the 7. They're wrecking it. It's Nolan Hodgson going around the outside to come to the line and win. He wins at Atlanta in the Waffle House 400. Wow, what a win. Oh, that's awesome for the kid.
Nolan Hodgson able to get around all the trouble on the last lap to take the race win. How about that for one of the independents?
Oh, that's awesome. You got to feel so happy for him, man. He was in the right position at the right time, and you got to feel bitter sadness for Princeton. Actually, not Princeton. It was the car that was on his inside there as they came out of the final corner. It got turned, and there's still a car sitting on the front stretch there. That is Ralph Hutchinson. He's got to be able to get around. I think he's just trying to finish the race. Ralph is. He's moving very slowly, but I don't think he'll make it as he's doing burnouts on the front stretch.
Let's take a look at the replay. Hodgson started up that final lap in the top 5. Heitman DQ with that clip of the grass there. And then chaos down the back straight away.
You can see it here. He's building up that run. He's got that run. He's pushing the 26, helping him out. He gets there. He decides to make a move up to the top, down below the red, and he knows he cannot pass below the red, which is why he backed off. And doing that actually gave him the best finish he could get at that particular time, which was second. But Nolan Hodgson does it, and he wins the second race of the season in a phenomenal fashion. He's sitting at the front end of the start-finish line. Wow, just you gotta feel so happy for him. He didn't wreck anyone to do it. He did it, and he did it fairly and honestly, and you gotta give him props.
Take a step aside. Quick break. Post-race coverage coming up here on Maconi Entertainment.
When you want to be the best, you can't settle for the rest. For anything on iRacing, there's just one name you need, Maconi.
With the launch of Maconi Entertainment and Maconi Competizone alongside Maconi Setup Shop, we now provide the best of the best in setups, paint schemes, coaching, broadcasting, and event organization.
With cars across all 4 license classes, we have what you need to hit the track with confidence. Grab a subscription and save money while going fast at MaconiSetupShop.com/subscriptions.
And remember, at Maconi Setup Shop, there are setups, but your victories.
Welcome back, everyone, for post-race coverage of the full-length Cup Challenge for the Waffle House 400 from Atlanta. It is Nolan Hodgson who comes away with the win. He led just 1 lap here tonight. Take a look at your final in-sim race results, unofficial, once again, for that running order here. Nolan Hodgson comes away with the win over Paul Hill. Then it's Jonathan Delaney in 3rd. We'll talk to the top 3 in just a moment. Then it's Johan Seminario in 4th. Hoytsma in 5th. Dyson, Hall, Anderson, Miller. Komacheski comes away with the top 10 on the chaotic final lap, Kirk.
Yep, with 11th place being Stephen Williams, Alex Murray, Kevin Zosiak, Matthew Long, Tanner Marty gets 15th. 16th, John Williams. 17th, Carl Dodson. We saw him up front. He ends up getting 17th a lap down. Derek Heitman finishes 18th. 19th will be Ralph Hutchinson. And 20th will be Matt DeCiani.
Then 21st going to Jordan Pearson. Then Dave Hoytsma, Noah Hamilton in 23rd. Ryan Strunk back in 24th. Brickley, Juan Petrovic, followed by Bowling, Llewellyn, Jason S. Taylor, we talked about him being way deep in the field earlier. He finished 29th. Jeremy Copper Newell finished off in 30th.
31st will be Alex Princeton, followed by Ed Ryan, Neil Pearson, Robert Miller, Patrick Gitter, Christopher Hill, Brandon Hastings, Larry McDonald, Cameron Stone, Devin Medeiros, Chad Sanner, Cameron Thompson, William Owens, Evan Mesnard, followed by the last place finisher today, Greg Newsom, finishing 242 laps down.
That's what we talked about, Matt. Your unofficial race results here tonight in this one as, my goodness, what a race. And what a finish. Nolan Hodgson comes away with the win. Nolan, how does it feel to come away with the win tonight here in the Full Length Cup Challenge?
Hey, man, honestly, I feel like William Byron right now with the way he did it at Daytona last week. That was probably the luckiest win I've ever had and probably the luckiest win I'll ever get. But, I mean, I tell you what, I've been in this league for, 4 or 5 years. And, it's been a long time coming for me. I've been working really hard and, luckily I was in the best place there at the end to grab the checker flag.
What was going through your mind in those late stages, too, before that mark where you were amongst those trying to get the top line working, you were amongst those trying to get momentum going? What was going through your mind in the plotting and planning stage before things really kicked off on that final lap?
Yeah, I mean, I honestly kind of, in my brain, I almost gave up there for a second because I got shuffled back pretty far, and it's not very often you find a hole on the top to be able to slot in there, and but I persevered, and obviously I was at the right place at the right time.
Next week's going to be a different flavor of racing. It's road course racing. Next up with Circuit of the Americas. How do you feel about COTA?
I got some opinions that I probably shouldn't share on this broadcast here about that track, but I'll persevere, hopefully try to get a top 15. Road courses are definitely not my, forte on the sim, but I've been putting a lot of practice laps, got a couple weeks of practice for COTA there, and hopefully I have a good showing to back this up.
Anyone you want to give a shout out to here tonight?
Yeah, man, pretty much anybody who's helped me throughout the years. Team Conti, Prodigy, EPI, all the boys. Throughout the years, I've been able to pick up a thing or two from each place that I went. And it's just, I'm just so excited, man. It's a big weight to get off my shoulders. I thought that maybe I could get one later this year or something like that, but it's nice to get it here early. I almost forgot my Mima, she's watching, and my papa, I assume as well, and my parents are all watching. They support me and they let me do this all the time. So, special thanks to them.
Congratulations once again on the win here tonight, Nolan.
Thank you.
Proud of you, buddy.
Nolan Hodgson comes away with the win here tonight. Paul Hill came away in second spot. Actually, still finished second despite having to get off the gas underneath the red line to try and avoid a penalty. He still comes away second with Kirk.
Yeah, I got to say, Paul, you did exactly what you needed to do today to be able to get the best finish you could. You had a great push from a driver there that ended up getting the win, Hodgson, but you did everything you could legally. Even though it looked like you could have been forced by Seminario below the line, you still backed off to be able to, make sure you save the finish. And you finished second week in a row. Great start to the season. How does it feel to be able to finish in the top 5 2 weeks in a row?
Feels pretty good. This was an uphill battle of a race. I think I racked up about 9 minutes of damage between all those cautions. So halfway through this race, I really didn't think a top 10 was in the cards, and I was just trying to salvage. I even went a lap down, got it back on the lucky dog. So to come back second here was nothing short of a miracle, to be honest. And, I do want to shout out Nolan. Congrats on that, man. That was a great push. He gave me an awesome push there. I thought I was going to be able to get something done. Forgot about the double yellow. I'm going to be completely honest with you. I just tried to shoot the gap, and then I realized, 3/4 of the way through that's illegal at this track. So had to back her down, but they decided to wipe each other out and slip away second. So it all works out, I guess. Would have been nice to get a win, but I'll take second for 2 weeks in a row. 2 for 2 ain't bad.
That ain't bad at all. And I got to give you props because this time you did everything you could to win this race. Is there anybody that you want to see you come from the back, get involved in all those wrecks, and then somehow still end up with the second place finish was nothing, like you said, short of a miracle. It was amazing. Great job. I just got to tell you that. But is there anyone at all that you'd like to shout out tonight?
Yeah, I want to shout out the boys, of course, at Dent Slayer that provide the tools for me to do my job here in real life, outside the sim. I want to shout out Nolan for the win. I know he's been trying to get one of these for a couple years now, and give him his flowers there. He did a great job. Was there at the end. My teammate Chad Sanner, and then my buddy Joe. He's helped me out over the past few weeks, or really months, working on sets and coaching, and so I want to shout him out as well.
Well, that's awesome there, Paul. Thank you so much for talking with us. Congratulations on getting second here tonight.
Appreciate it.
See you next week in Coda.
Paul Hill coming away second spot tonight. Jonathan Delaney is standing by after a third place run here in the 6 machine. Jonathan, that was a whirlwind tonight. How would you describe your night?
Lots up and down. Race was very interesting to say the least. There was the draft package was very weird, and it's kind of hard to really make up ground. It was just a lot of tight racing, and it was so hard to get the top to work. And for it to work, you had to have a couple good cars on the top that really knew what they're doing, and that kind of knew how to side draft and whatnot. So it was super hard to pass. Wrecks were also pretty big too, trying to avoid those. Avoided quite a lot of those tonight. But it's plate racing. It's kind of dealt with the same thing last week too at Daytona. So we went into this race kind of expecting that, and we weren't too surprised of how the race kind of ended and race, but we kind of set our car up to be able to try and counteract the side draft and just be able to kind of work well in the drafts. But overall it was a good night. Came out with P3. So yeah, can't complain too much. I'm just glad that race is over.
Well, overall, though, how would you describe the start of the season for you and your team with how things have gone? I know Super Speedway race is unpredictable, but your team has shown flashes of brilliance so far throughout the past 2 weeks.
Yeah, we felt really comfortable. We felt really fast the past 2 weeks. If we get hooked up with good cars, we feel like we're one of the best, if not the best, cars on the track. It's just super hard. Super speedway races, everyone's so similar in speed. It's kind of hard to really justify your speed. But if you really get lined up and be able to work well with your teammates, it makes a world of a difference. But no, I think we're definitely really good. I think we'll be even just as good, if not even better, at the 1.5 miles and short tracks as well. Ralph Hutchinson's been doing really good at getting some really nice race sets, getting them tuned, and makes them feel really good every week. So shout out to him.
So on that note, your thoughts on Circuit of the Americas next week?
Yeah, I think it'll be definitely a different change of pace compared to the past 2 weeks. I'll be glad to kind of get away from the pack racing and being side by side, but I'm looking forward to Coda. It's a different layout, so it should be a little different than it will be different than last year, but we'll have to get used to the layout. But it should be a good race. And yeah, we'll come there prepared and hopefully go out and at least get a podium. Road courses aren't my favorite, and I'm not the best there. There's a couple guys in here that are really good at road courses, so If we're able to even come out with the top 5, we'll be pretty happy there.
Anyone you want to give a shout out to here tonight?
Yeah. So like I said, Ralph Hudson, he's been making some really good sets the past 2 weeks, and everyone else on Ralph Hudson Motorsports, Lucas, and Jason, Sean, for helping out and being with the team. And that's really all we got. I want to thank the admins for helping putting this league together. Bryson and Bobby. Bryson was and Bryson being race control. It always is nice to have someone up in the being race control to kind of help officiate things during the race. So shout out to those guys. And then shout out to you guys in the broadcast booth for broadcasting this for us every week. It's always nice to go back and watch the races and even represent this league and racing to other people as well. So thank you guys. That's all I got.
Congratulations once again on the top 3 here tonight, Jonathan.
Thank you.
Jonathan Delaney coming away in third. I'd like to thank the whole top 3 for taking the time to speak with us during post-race coverage here on Maconi Entertainment. Kirk, what are your final thoughts on this one as the sun starts to set here in Hampton?
I am so happy for Nolan. He did an absolutely phenomenal job all day trying to stay out of trouble. He still had a few bit of incident points, so much so that whenever he did his burnouts, he actually went over the incident limit, but he still will keep the win. But I got to say, I mean, altogether, the end of that race, the last 10 laps were exactly what I want to see when I go to a super speedway race. Exactly what I want to see. It was hard racing, everybody going for broke and doing everything they can to try and win the race. And that was beautiful, and I cannot wait to see how they do next week at a technical track that's going to take a lot of patience and determination to get through at COTA next week when we go to the configuration that no one's run before, which is the West configuration. So it's going to be exciting to see if they're able to do it. And I guess who's going to come away with the trophy there next week.
It'll be a fun time. Once again, that will be on March the 1st, should say. That will be 8:30 p.m. Eastern Time. Be sure to tune in for that one for the full-length Cup Challenge. But it's time to say goodbye. Thanks to you, the viewers, for tuning in for tonight's action here on Maconi Entertainment. Calling the action tonight was myself, Justin Prince, alongside Kirk Mills. Marty Sikawa was producing. Thanks to our viewers for watching tonight's action, and we hope you stay tuned to our social media pages for our next race. Thanks to the entire staff for the work in bringing this racing to you. This has been a production of Maconi Entertainment. We'll see you next time.
Racing isn't easy, but experiencing it is. iRacing puts you in the driver's seat with the industry's leading sim racing game. Drive on laser scan replicas of the greatest racing circuits from around the world. Go head-to-head against other drivers chosen by skill-based matchmaking to ensure competitive racing at every level. Compete across all your favorite series. In officially licensed cars, engineered to deliver the most accurate driving experience possible. Join a race or host your own with players from across the globe. Race against the computer or in a league with friends. Feel the thrill behind the wheel. Visit iRacing.com.